Happened, gentlemen. So apologies to everyone who was wondering what the hell just happened. Apparently, StreamYard did not like me creating a broadcast for 3 times over. So this is the fourth time. I don't know why. And they just don't like us. But we're back.
Well, I don't like you either.
Well, I know, but we're forced to talk about these things for whatever purposes we want. So apparently it's working now.
Yeah, but there's no one watching because the 8 people who are watching got kicked. Or 8 people who are waiting there. And that was the start of our audience, and now we just have to wait for them to come back.
Yeah.
They'll be back.
They'll be back and in greater numbers.
It might just happen. It might not. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Apologies about that, guys. Let me just put that in the chat. Sorry about that, folks.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. All right. So we're back. Thanks for tuning in. A little late in the day, but we weren't sure whether we were going to do one. And we had a big list from all you guys giving us suggestions, and they were all scary. So we weren't sure what to do. And they were long. They were scary and long.
Big ass fucking list.
And
Like,
to be
yeah, the
careful
Lord of the
about
Rings. Yeah, EFF took like 9 hours to cover the Lord of the Rings one.
Yeah, I can't see ourselves doing that. We take breaks. We schedule
Yeah.
for another day. So
Yeah, or we could just do like Fellowship of the Ring one day.
It takes us 2 parts
towers.
to do a 30 minutes. I think it's gonna take 4 parts.
I think maybe what we could do is just watch the Fellowship of the Ring one day, then 2 Towers, and then Return of the King, since he does all 3 of them the same thing.
There seems to be a lot of background sound coming from your mic.
That's because there's a fan going on.
okay, guys. Well, we're going to be doing Renegade Cut, and he's taking up the topic of horror movies and how they would work in a homosexual context.
What?
The gay nightmare.
Yeah.
Well,
gonna be
otherwise,
different.
what my dad calls me.
The gay nightmare. That's it. Nice.
It actually has a nice ring to it. It could be a villain. The gay nightmare.
I'm waiting for a really popular band to have a really crazy name that everyone loves. It's so
It does
offensive
sound like
it
a
works. It's
bad
like,
name.
yeah. But their
Hello,
music is
guys.
amazing.
We are the Grey Nightmare.
The gay
The Gay
nightmares.
Nightmare. We're gonna rock your world.
All right, so let me just share the screen. There we go.
And you
let's
turn
get
on the
going.
audio?
The audio is at max.
No, I mean, like, did you turn on the share audio thing?
Well, we'll find out.
Oh,
Can you hear it?
cool. Yep.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Film philosophy.
What's that?
Film philosophy. Philosophy politics. Great combination there, buddy.
Yeah.
Horror fandom is bursting with debate and conversation. Unanswered questions from their favorite scary movies and franchises. Who is the alien at the end
I
of the
already
thing?
regret voting for this.
What's that?
Just 20 seconds of his voice. I'm already regretting voting for this.
You don't like his voice.
No, it's because I have PTSD from his voice.
His voice
Just the
is
absolute
weird.
nonsense he likes to spew about fascism.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to talk about fascism at some point. It's probably going to happen.
The gay fascist. Of course, I didn't think about that.
It's a popular unanswerable question, made more ludicrous by the fact that thematically the not knowing is the whole point. Was the Overlook Hotel haunted, or were the events a case of insanity brought on by cabin fever? Well, certainly some
I think
half-baked
that's kind of
conspiracy.
the point of the film.
Yeah.
So, was he actually crazy, or was the
I
place
think
a
that he's
factory?
pointing out that is the point of the film.
Well, then, yes, he is correct.
All right.
For once, he was correct about something.
Theorist has some choice words about that one. But one question among the horror community was finally and definitively answered just a few years ago. is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 gay? It was certainly seen that way for many years, but the real question was, was it intentional? It seems straightforward to
What is
me,
the
but the people in
appropriate amount of gay to have in your horror film? Please discuss, chat.
You can never have too much gay.
Or
So you should
implied-
never go full gay.
Or implied homosexuality. Are they really having? Oh no, they just like each other a lot. It's like, wait, what?
It's like
What
the
are they doing in this
Joseph
scene?
Anderson video, subjectivity is implied, but it's just homosexuality.
Tyler Preston had a good point. The main character in this movie has a girlfriend, so no.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you could always be subconsciously gay. It's one of those wonderful arguments. Where under the surface.
I hate it when they bring that up. It's just like, really?
What's the term? Internal gayness or internal misogyny?
Internalized misogyny. I think internalized misogyny is when it's like women hate things that other women like.
No.
Like,
Internalized misogyny is when women are against feminism.
Really?
But like in turn, I guess I don't really know if there is a specific term for people who like are gay but are pretending not to be, or apparently lie to themselves saying they're not gay. Is there a term? Who knows? Who cares?
I want to know what he's talking about with this whole horror movie genre being homosexual. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting topic. Let's see how that goes.
Well, yeah, Soma was the ultimate homosexual game.
Really? Okay. Maybe it was. I have no idea.
involved always danced around it or even outright denied it. The homosexual subtext was something to be openly discussed only by hardcore horror fans and academics who rightly saw this low-budget slasher as a surprising entry into the gay film canon. In 2010,
Really?
There's
Freddy Krueger-
Gay film canon.
I had no
Is there a
idea.
straight film canon at this
Must
point?
be.
Hey, Glib, how's it going?
Glib, are you ready for the gay nightmare?
I'm gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight.
Apparently, Nightmare on Elm Street was added to the gay film canon.
Good. I love the gay film canon. I know all about it.
I had no idea that Nightmare on Elm Street was, in fact, a homosexual story. Well,
Well, there's actually a really funny Nightmare on Elm Street scene where I think that's what he was referencing, where it's like, "There's something inside of me. Can you sleep with me tonight?" And it's like, it's pretty gay. Like, it's pretty good. But I just find it funny that Renegade Cut is like so focused on it. He's like, I have to find the gay.
That means horror films are
Ultra mega hella
gay.
gay.
Oh, it's horror films are gay because the violence is what is it? What is the Freudian take again? It's like
subconscious
yeah,
homosexuality.
exactly.
He's not actively gay. He's just in the closet about it. He doesn't
He's
know
just horror movie gay.
it. Tell me about your other brothers. What?
Tell me about the thing that chases you at night or whatever. I don't know his accent.
Well, you see, when you're scared, you automatically just become homosexual.
That's why I was scared gay, not scared straight. That happened to me.
10. In the documentary Never Sleep Again about the Nightmare series, the screenwriter himself finally confirmed his intentions behind the film.
You know, we've always pussyfooted around this. Look, it was supposed
We've always
to be
pussyfooted.
subtext. This was post-AIDS, and I started thinking about guys being like unsure of their sexuality.
Oh, so it was intentional. It was so obvious. Makes sense. It totally makes sense now that this guy was like, yeah, of course I was going to put some gay shit in there.
Gay.
I'm so proud of my gay shit.
Without
Good job,
implying it
friend.
directly, it's just this subversive little elements. Like, what are they doing in that bed? What's going on there?
I just wanted to have a scene where two men have an awkward moment.
That's about as far as it goes. Yeah.
Pretty scary. And this really precarious
relationship between Mark Patton and I throughout the movie. You have a board game.
It's so gay. It's so gay. It's fun to watch. Like, it's hilarious how subtextual it is, but how obvious it is at the same time. I really hope that they put that scene that I was talking about in there, because it's hilariously gay, and it's like the rest of the people making it didn't know that it was gay, or was trying to maybe not be so obvious about it, which makes it even gayer.
Okay, who wants to sing this song? Anyone? Any
I would.
takers?
I want to take you to a gay bar. I want to take you to a gay bar. I want to take you to a gay bar. Gay bar. Gay bar.
Woohoo! Thank you very much.
I would have
That
done
was
it,
beautiful.
but right now it is almost midnight.
War. Let's start a nuclear war at the gay bar. Gay bar. Gay. Smudcast.
My housemates would question everything about me if they could just hear me yelling "gay bar."
Thank you, Mad Crew.
Just in the middle of the night. Gay bar.
Fantastic idea. Thank you, Glib. All right. Okay. All right. So this is a story about a guy who has a girlfriend, and he has lots of weird homosexual scenarios, but we're not sure exactly what the context is until it's shown to us by Renegade Cut.
On it. He has a sign on the door that says "No chicks allowed."
The production designer in the film.
That doesn't mean he's gay. He just has a sign that says "No chicks."
No, they
allowed."
definitely there's definitely this subtext.
I know
actually
they're
agree with this
trying for it. No, I know what they're aiming for, but just because someone has a sign saying "No chicks allowed" doesn't mean they're gay.
No girls allowed and fought kick ass.
I never thought you know kids,
this is
like
that's
kids
funny.
have no
read this,
no boys allowed.
read this
no-
super chat, Shiny, because this is addressing exactly what we're talking about.
Mark Patton slammed the writer for how unsubtle the gay subtext was and claimed it ruined his career. Ooh.
There must be something there. There must be.
I know their intentions, but it's also it's like I would just kind of assume is that "No chicks allowed" is similar to like how kids end up saying, "Oh, no boys allowed" or "No girls allowed." When I see a "No girls allowed" sign, I don't think gay. I don't think "No boys allowed." I think lesbian.
We should watch the scene in question. I think
Yeah,
we
we
did.
should. Just
At
to
the
get the whole
beginning.
context, yeah.
Are you gay?
What do you? Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 200% gay.
No,
Here,
no,
I'm gonna
don't
send
be the shippers. Don't.
I'm gonna send the scene to you, Smud, later, and then you can
All
put
right,
it on
yeah,
if you
sure, we'll
want.
check it out. Matt Carrier 6, thank you, sir. That was brilliant. I love you guys, but in a purely platonic way. Well, that's all thanks to Glib. So everyone else is nice and quiet. They're whispering. They can't talk very loudly.
Yeah, the sun is out where I am.
I mean, the problem is I legitimately work at a bar that is run by a couple of lesbians, so I do work at a gay bar.
That is true. Technically, that is accurate.
I've never actually gone to various places that do serve clientele in the homosexual or lesbian place, but I do know people who work at them, and they're fantastic places. Great brunches, great dancing, fantastic.
There's a lot of bisexual lighting in this bar.
Yes, you're right. They do have it.
So Smudge, you go to a lot of these places personally?
Not lately because of the lockdown, but Toronto is opening up tomorrow. Actually, no, Friday.
Okay, so you heard it here first. Smud goes to a lot of gay bars.
I go to a lot of bars in general, and some of them
He
are
walked
good.
right into that one, the gay bar.
I literally did. Yes.
Smud's like, I'm just trying to get a good conversation going.
It's
Where are
right
the?
across the street from one of my favorite French places. So I actually go everywhere. That's true. If you have a great chef and she works at any place, you follow her wherever she goes. You're like, I'm going wherever you go. I don't care. So.
And apparently Smud also stalks women, so there you go.
Who are chefs? Yes, I stalk the chefs.
Smud is a horror
Stop.
villain. I think that's what we're getting here. Smud is Freddy Krueger.
Oh my god.
I am the nightmare.
He stalks chefs in the night.
Much unlike my D&D.
Oh my god, is that what fucking Hush does? Like,
Yes,
Hush just
yes,
stalks
exactly.
chefs. It's like, give me a food. This is a stick up.
Is that a...
I can't find the exact scene because there are too many compilations of how gay the character is.
That's awesome.
Elm Street 2 rocked Europe. because they picked up on the whole psychosexual, homoerotic subtext. Freddy could represent the self-hatred, you know, in the gay community. He could also represent just the taunt.
You son of a bitch! All this, plus the fact that the protagonist was played by a gay actor, Mark Patton, who brought a little of himself into the role, even
They
beyond
made it as gay as possible.
And he played a straight guy, essentially. So
this movie's gay. I don't care. I agree. This movie's super gay. But I want to see how we're 2 minutes in, right? And so far, Renegade Cut is like, okay, I picked a film. I know all these things are facts. Now, how is he going to shift that to gay being a nightmare in popular culture? Because I know that's where this is going. He's going to take it from this movie, and then it's going to be like E.T. fingering people was gay, and then I'm just like, hell no, bro, I don't want to go there.
Oh no!
To the gay bar, gay.
Sorry. This entire time was going. It's probing time.
E.T. phone the gay bar. Hello.
Hello.
What?
We have a message for E.T. about his mother.
Oh.
Real methods for E.T. You left your stunner sunglasses in the hallway.
Patton has claimed that the film's gay subtext was increased during production. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is the
We
story
need to
of Jesse
increase
Welch.
this film's gay by
Increase the gay.
Increase gay levels.
More gay.
You must conduct additional gay pylons. Construct, sorry.
Nathan Higgins.
Not
Oh
enough.
gosh, what is this?
Oh my.
Welcome to the gay bar. Gay bar.
Yeah, you can do a much better impression than I can, Dunn.
Oh my.
Oh, that is pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Oh, here's a good one. EC Cons. Is Kristoff from Frozen gay because he's voiced by a gay actor? That's Renegade Cut's logic.
No, he's not. He's not saying that. He literally specifically said he brings a little bit of the character in, and it makes sense. You hire a gay actor to do gay stuff, they're gonna have a little bit of knowledge. You hire a non-gay dude, maybe he's gonna be a little uncomfortable.
There is a certain narrative out there, like, kind of similar to what happened to Sulu. They made Sulu gay just because the actor was gay, and that was something that he didn't like it. George Takei didn't like the fact they were changing the character. But
if he had started that way, he probably would have appreciated it. Like if you could be out and gay, and then if I was out and gay and playing Star Trek, then of course it would be fun.
I don't think he has a problem with his character being gay. He has a problem with the character being changed. But I think in this case, it is more that the character originally had this idea, and it's not being changed later down the line. And there's nothing wrong with being gay. It's more just how it can be included. The way it is included in certain modern media is not very good, let's just say, when we have the idea of just because it's diverse, it means it's good, which doesn't inspire good behavior when it comes to people writing.
Yeah, I have like George Takei has made like has kind of saying like against like some homophobic people. He's just like, I am hurt by this. But I want you to know that we don't hate you. In fact, we like you. We like you
a lot.
Very much.
Yeah.
Smooth, chocolatey head, glazed in man sweat.
You're really too good at that.
That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
that was
good at that. Well done. Well done, gay.
What's
Well,
George
George done.
Was George gay here?
George the gay.
George the gay.
No, I am not George Takei. I wish I was, though.
What? So you could be 90 years old?
You know he voiced the character in Clone Wars.
Oh yes, he voiced that rather
General Lockdown.
Yep.
Just slow down your voice and make it theatrical.
And
General Lockdown.
A little bit weird.
Betrayed Federation. Oh fuck.
Yep.
I lost it at the end.
I watched Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
It
for
was
the
pretty
gay.
gay.
Yeah. Freddy, I just want you to know, when you least expect it, I will have sex with you.
I want you to know I am gay.
He actually said that. It was so funny. If you guys have never seen that little clip, it is so funny.
I know he's talked about Star Trek, the JJ verse version of his character saying, well, that's not how Roddenberry wrote him, so that's why you shouldn't do that. So he was very strict on continuity, and he didn't really like the aspect of J.J. Abrams changing things. So
I don't like the concept of J.J. Abrams changing things.
Yeah, in general.
I don't like the concept of J.J. Abrams.
I don't know
I
if it was
agree.
JJ who did it, because I think it was a different director for
Oh
Star Trek.
yeah, it was. Who's the Simon Pegg? I believe it actually was Simon Pegg and not JJ. That changed the character.
Star Trek
sexuality.
Beyond.
Oh, Chekhov?
I believe it was
Scotty.
Yeah,
Well, Scotty.
the guy playing Scotty was. Fuck, I've already forgotten his name now. I said it like 5 seconds ago. Simon Pegg. I believe he was the one that directed Beyond.
No, he didn't direct it.
was
The
Justin
director of
Lin.
it was the guy that does.
It was Justin
Yes, the guy that does Fast and Furious.
Which tells you a lot
They would
about
get Fast and Furious.
what's
and
happened to
Beyond.
Star Trek. Yeah.
You know, in like 5 seconds, so much just clicked into place.
I couldn't watch Star Trek Beyond, and I remember watching the trailer and just
Oh my
hearing
God, they have
Beastie Boys.
tiny, they
Yeah.
have tiny spaceships, tiny little spaceships, and then do you know how they destroy these tiny spaceships? They
With the
play rock.
gay.
They play rock
Play
music to
It is
destroy
It's
the
a
bee
fucking
swarm
lame-
of spaceships.
I've never seen something so lame but so cool at the same time.
It's like, oh my God, you know, it'd be really cool. We destroy these things with music.
So what you're saying is that Simon Pegg should be a writer for the Orville.
No.
So what you're saying is that Simon Pegg should be a writer for his own movies.
I'm saying no, he shouldn't because that was fucking retarded.
But he
They-
did a bunch
I-
of good stuff.
Well,
Shiny,
Simon
I'm
Pegg,
not
the
gonna
films
lie.
he's on often is not the one that's writing, yeah?
I'm not gonna lie, Shiny. I actually really like that scene. I know it's stupid.
You
but I love
fucking
it.
kidding?
I fucking love
Most-
that scene.
They're riding a wave of fucking explosions as they destroy this bee swarm with fucking rock music. It's it makes no sense.
Apparently,
at all.
it's the better of the three films.
It's
Yeah,
not.
It is.
It is.
Into Darkness is easily the better
Oh,
one, but that's
no,
only because it's
no.
only better because it rips so much from a far superior film. You're looking at three
Star Trek
terrible
2009 is the only acceptable one, and it's only acceptable because it very barely goes into any of the characters. It's still using all. It's exactly like
Yeah.
Force Awakens. You're still using all the nostalgia bait,
Okay.
and then you have Spock come up.
I mean, I don't
And
think
that's
there's
it.
much point in arguing what's worse between three terrible pieces of shit.
I think Into Darkness is clearly the worst, and Beyond is the most boring.
He was co-written by Simon Pegg. There was a guy
Okay.
named Doug Young.
Yeah,
who
but
was
all of
lead
the
writer.
Cornetto movies are written by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, so he's a good writer. That's the thing. He's
no,
but
but
he's a
in things
comedy
that
writer.
He's more Simon Pegg. He's not the main writer though. He's more just he helps out on the side.
I don't know about that. I would not presume to know how much that of any script that Simon Pegg wrote, considering that he wrote all Beyond. You know what I mean? I mean, what are we saying that he's just like? I don't want to presume that. I don't know what his working thing is like. I know that he's smart enough to write a script on his own, but if
I mean, anyone could write a script on their own. It's only a matter of how good that script.
no, I don't
is gonna be.
agree with that.
Well, no, anyone could write a script.
No.
It depends
No.
on how, but it depends
make
on
me do
how
it,
good
Shiny.
it's going to be.
No,
No,
not everybody can write a script.
Well, no, anyone can write words down on a page. It's just how good it's going to be.
I don't want to do this. That's not a script. That's not a script. But let's move.
Let's just keep on going.
Well,
shall we?
anyone can write. Oh, he enters the room. He picks up a vase.
No,
he
they
throws it on the
cannot.
ground.
Not everybody can figure out how to explain this shit. Not everybody has an internal monologue. Not everybody has a mind for creativity or writing. It's
no,
very,
but-
yeah. Anybody that can learn the format.
Anyone can draw, but it takes a level of skill to do it well. Anyone can draw a stick figure, and it's the same for writing. Anyone can write words on a page, but to what level of quality, to what standard can they reach? And I think maybe what you're talking about is You think I'm saying anyone can write a good script? Saying no, I'm saying
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, look, when I went to school for writing, I didn't know how to write a script, and I never did. Now I might have been able to write something, but it wouldn't have been what the studios would call a script. It didn't meet the standard. So you have to be able to do certain, be able to move certain levers. So the point I was trying to make with the Simon Pegg thing is that the problem with Star Trek Beyond is that it's kind of writing outside of his area. He's not a dry writer. He's a guy that writes a lot of character humor and situational humor. And for him to write deeply, like diplomatic stories and that kind of thing, I'm not sure that that's the guy that you choose for that. I don't even know who that would be. Maybe J. Michael Straczynski at this point.
Literally anyone else other than Simon Pegg.
No, for Star Trek?
Yeah, I would. Well, maybe not anyone else. I should maybe word myself a little bit more carefully.
Johnson.
No,
Ryan Johnson. You could get there are a lot of people that you could get to do that. I would love to see a Del Toro Star Trek movie directed and then written by Ron Moore and who else would I choose for that?
Would possibly James Gunn be good?
No, I don't want any of that goofy shit. I don't want any of that Marvel humor in it.
Well,
I need somebody that looks at Star Trek seriously, a serious science fiction writer, a nerd.
Well, obviously people said, "Hey, look, do you know who we really need for Star Trek? J.J. Abrams."
Nathan Higgins says, before we move on or whatever, Glib, could you perhaps explain what a script is? That I don't think we all are on the same page. A film script in the format, is like 3. I'm pretty sure it's 3, and I might add more here because I don't know all the way. But it's character dialogue, which is one format type. It's action lines, which is another format type, and it's descriptions. Now, if you understand the format, then you could probably write a script. You know what I mean? If you can nail, all right, the character has to talk here, then an action that has to do with movement, I write into this format, and then. But not everybody knows that off the bat, because if you're if you don't know how the format of the script is supposed to work, how are you going to write what I'm defining here as a script, the traditional film script format? Because there's other kinds of scripts, But what we're talking about is the idea of being able to write a script, and I agree. The real thing is writing a good script, like what Shawnee said. Like there's a much higher skill level, but actually finishing a script, I think that people should write a script, like try and write one and then reflect on it. What did they have to learn to actually do that, to accomplish it? Because I think there are a lot of people that get 2/3 of the way through a script, they get to their climax, and then they don't know what to do. Whether it's a fictional story or it's a recursive element, like a TV episodic series or something, there are steps. And it's taken me years to figure out how to just write a simple script with all of the steps that go before it to make it worthwhile. It's like a process. So when I hear like anybody can write a script, I get really I go, I don't know about that. That's like saying anybody can tell a joke. Like you can probably figure out how to tell a knock-knock joke, but can you come up with your own funny jokes? Just the idea of a joke, probably, because you've heard it before. But can you actually? And then it goes to what Shiny was saying. Do you know what it takes to actually construct someone that's going to be funny to modern audiences or whatever?
I would say perform a joke is more complicated than actually writing a joke out. But you're talking about a technical skill which can be taught and can be learned.
And I think what what I was contesting is the idea that innately you can do these things. No. Anybody can just innately write. It's like yes. After they take the information in, I'll change my point in that and ever. You have to learn it first, and then you can produce it. If you don't, you'll fall into the same pitfalls as everybody else, I think.
I would honestly love to see Glib react to the Game of Thrones scripts because they don't look like that at all. They look like novel prose.
I guarantee. Okay, well, the story that they write, we'll go over it Dunn later if you want, but the screenplay, the shooting script has to be formatted a certain way, and we can go over and look at it. And then just as Nathan to round it out, by your definition, I think the average layman does not know what a script is. Yeah, I think that's what I'm using specific terms.
Yeah, David. Yeah, it's mostly because David Benioff brags about never having read a screenwriting novel in his life.
So
well,
really, you're boasting that.
We'll have to do a D&D writing thing done. I'm going to write that down.
It's
You
the
and I
same
will
with any
we'll do
any
that.
format, whether you're talking a short story, a novel, novella, a genre. You have to know what you're doing. That's given. It's a given thing. I think Shining was mostly referring to being able to write words that can resemble something that looks like a script. Doesn't mean
I
it can
think
be-
that's true. It's hard to disagree with that, but I don't know. I think that then it becomes a semantic argument where it's like, is that a script? If you know, what does it require? Just enough?
Is Marmalade a script?
No, but is
Patrick.
is writing down like, okay, this is what I'm gonna say when I hit the record button. That's probably a base level script, right? It's you know what I mean. It's like, okay, yeah, of course. If you just scribble, "Hello world," that's a script.
So it's more a semantics argument then.
Yeah, basically. The idea of the traditional film script is a format that has to be adhered to, but the idea of the general script that could be used for any purpose. So when I think I'm talking about like a formalist idea where a script for a film has a specific set of standards, whereas in reality you could make whatever content in whatever format you want and anybody could write whatever they want. It would be a vastly different result based on structure alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think my perspective.
Right.
I had to work that
Now
out.
back to the video.
Back to Gay Nightmare.
Time for more gay. Let's go.
A teenage outsider who begins to have nightmares of a man trying to take over his body. The man, Freddy Krueger, requires Jesse's body to leave the dream world and enter the real world to continue his murderous rampage on the Elm Street children. There are some overt homosexual references, such as when Grady tells Jesse that Coach Snyder is queer and goes to S&M bars. Jesse later goes there himself while in a dazed, almost sleepwalking state. The most obvious homosexual reference, however, is played for laughs.
Something
The most obvious thing is just all the gay shit.
I just love that the film is telling you that someone is gay by showing you that someone is gay. It's like, yes, well done. That's how language works.
This is the scene I was talking about, by the way. So we don't even have to watch it because it's pretty funny. Here we go.
is trying to get inside my body. Yeah, and she's female and she's waiting for you in the cabana. And you want to sleep with me.
There's a lot going on.
You want to sleep with me?
Seduction.
He's having a fucking meltdown basically because he's getting hunted every day at nighttime But then it all is written like he actually just wants to fuck this guy, which is so weird because it's like I'm thinking about the straight version of that, and that to me is like I feel like I'd watch an anime that had that plot. Like, oh no, whatever Sama, you have to sleep with me tonight, or else the sleep demons will get me. Sounds like an anime plot.
It sounds like Inuyasha with the monk who's like the horniest man on the face of planet Earth.
The horniest man. He just can't get off.
Yeah. Claims he just wants to sire a kid, but it's like, no, you want a bone. You just want a bone. That's it.
Who we're becoming, the shaming of parents, and most of it is subtext. But why subtext? Why couldn't A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 be an outwardly gay film in America? Why was this subtext reviled back when it was released? Some horror fans called it the gay sequel. Well, let's take a trip back in time even
The
further.
gay sequel. That's my gay brother, part 2.
EC Gods. It's time to let the children gay. Yes, thank you. Why can't they just gay? I don't know.
Unleash the gay on the children. That's the theme of Freddy Krueger.
Oh no!
Unleashing the
gay math. It's
Why
all
wasn't
the gay math.
I don't think we need any more Common Core practices.
The reason why it is the subtext in the film is because that it is actually a nightmare to be gay in America.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna say. That's accurate.
Why couldn't this be a homosexual film that scared people? I don't know.
Because it's a nightmare to be gay in America.
Remember, I think, I don't know, I'm going to have to rewind after this and go back to the point where I said, this is going to be about society now. Now we're 3 minutes in. I was going to make it about how homophobic American society was in 1982.
Well, at least it's not going to be about, fascism.
I'm still holding on to that.
How many videos does this guy make about fascism?
Oh, a lot. I
Watching
imagine.
Freddy Krueger, and the next thing you know, you're
a
gay.
fascist.
You didn't ask for this.
You didn't choose this.
But there it is. You're gay, and Freddy Krueger's coming for you.
Oh my.
Okay.
According to the Celluloid Closet, Homosexuality in the Movies by Vito Russo, the censors
According
in the
to
late
my
20s
academic, it's always just some book that every single bread tuber does the exact same thing. According to this book that I use as an authority on everything. Okay.
Early 30s were under pressure from.
Oh, I was just going to say, like the dude with Saurian Cinema book.
This is gonna be so stupid. This guy's talking about. This guy's talking about how they used to like censor homosexuality or whatever in the 1920s and 30s. And it's like obviously because there was all sorts of decency laws back then.
They would censor everything. Kissing.
Exactly.
Illegal.
Thank you.
They would,
guns, censoring, games.
They would censor the word bitch. Like, get away from her, you bitch, was cut out of the TV.
Obviously, it was. Obviously, in the past, it was actually less acceptable to be homosexual. We know that. It's
yes,
yeah,
but the point was that there was a
do
code,
censor everything.
The Motion Picture Production Code from 1934 to 1968 was also known as the Hays Code, and that was the thing. Like Joseph Breen from 1934 to 1954. It was all about decency. It was all about good, upstanding Christian morals and stuff. So there was so much stuff you couldn't put into it. But what's funny is that most of the stuff that got filtered out was gay communism, which is kind of why I think Renegade Cut is upset.
As well as stuff like what happened to Alan Turing just post World War II.
That was like a war crime. That should have been that was one of the worst things that ever happened to a person, for sure.
Yeah, poor guy.
After all that he did too, it's extra. It's always extra, like that. The Tuskegee Airmen incident, so many incidents like that. You know what I mean? That have happened in our history. What are you going to do though? Are you going to throw the baby out with the bathwater? Are we going to say that this is a piece of shit world? This is a piece of shit country. Our ancestors were just bigots and terrible people. Or are we going to just go, yeah, that was that period. Where are we at right now? And where are we going? What do you want to do?
No, Dunn, you didn't understand that you are a garbage person and your ancestors are a garbage person for what your ancestors may or may not have done.
What that does to people is it does two things. Some people will either bend the knee to you and be like, you're right. I'm sorry I'm white. I'm sorry I'm male.
I'm sorry my ancestors may have done something horrible. I'm sorry. We don't know that for a fact, but it's possible they did something.
Yeah, they might have done something to your ancestors. Like, really? Okay.
Exactly. But what people do in response to hearing that is they go the opposite direction. And that's how you get the stupid dialectic that instead of resolving in the center, it goes more extreme on both sides.
Yeah, it's like, hey, your ancestors did a thing. Now you owe me something. It's like, no, I don't. Fuck off. And then
what that does is it puts the ideas that, oh, my aunt, I'm what is it called? There's blood libel against my ancestors. Well, then maybe my ancestors were right then. Maybe they were right about you. And then it becomes the same thing again. I'm like, wow, we learned nothing generation to generation. That's why I like Star Trek.
Well, old Star Trek.
Yeah, old Star Trek. New Star Trek is just like nowadays, where people are just dying.
We don't consider that Star Trek. It's not canon.
Not Trek.
New Trek.
In 1926, a photoplay magazine film critic decried the use of disgusting perverts in Rex Ingram's Mare Nostrum, which featured a vaguely lesbian spy. The arrival of sound brought a new element of realism to the screen, and the watchdogs of the public morality began to bear down on the industry. Will Hayes, a former Postmaster General of the United States and Presbyterian elder, had been enlisted to head the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America, an organization created primarily for public relations for the studios and to protect the industry from the threat of outside censorship by institutions like the Catholic Church. By 1930, Hayes developed the Motion Picture Production Code, by which the industry regulated itself. By 1934, the code was strengthened due to outside pressure from the Catholic Legion of Decency. The Legion ranked films as either A. acceptable, B. morally objectionable, or C. condemned. With the
I want
Catholic
that
Church
C
and
grade,
other
baby.
watchdog groups on their backs, Hollywood promised to abide by the code. Such things that were banned included nudity, profanity, references to abortion, open-mouthed kissing, and of course, sex perversion, which is
the history of censorship. Yeah, we know it very well.
There were so many things that they wanted in that code. They didn't want miscegenation. They didn't want the illegal traffic of drugs, white slavery. They didn't want to talk about sex hygiene. They didn't want to talk about ridicule of the clergy. It was just blasphemy laws. No sedition, no rape scenes, no men and women in bed together, no deliberate seduction of girls, nothing against the institution of marriage, no surgical operations, and no usage of drugs.
It's the same with television. Wow. The 50s and 60s. They're all in separate beds. They're all not sleeping together. It's always very mom and pop sort of nuclear family.
It's disgusting because it makes you feel like it's... Oh, sorry, go on, voice. I interrupted.
Is it still a thing that exists, though? Because the watershed is still a thing.
Doesn't exist in our television anymore. Our television is completely degenerate.
Yep, like Game of Thrones has pretty much normalized incest as you can do this.
But of course, the shows like Game of Thrones are shown after a certain time, and that's called the watershed, which basically means from peak television time when your kids could be watching, you avoid violence and sex and themes of alcohol and drugs and what have you, which is why stuff like Game of Thrones isn't shown until like past 8 o'clock. At least that's how it is in the UK. So stuff like that, or Sex in the City and what have you, isn't shown until you're past that time. And I don't know if it still works like that in America, because I don't know what the American television is, but it's basically you're allowed to do whatever after that time has passed, but from between like 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. something like that. You can't get away with that. You won't be allowed to show your TV show or whatever. You know, it also means when it comes to stuff like Lord of the Rings, if they show Lord of the Rings before 8 p.m., they cut out Lurtz being beheaded because it's gruesome.
Oh, it's so dumb. Just get over it. Just stop, man. Stop trying to be the censor. There's so many stupid scenarios that happen because of this. Like Howard Hughes made the Outlaw. He wanted to put it in theaters. Breen, the Breen era of that, wanted to keep it out of theaters because there was they were showing Jane Russell's titties on screen. Oh my goodness, there was a breast on camera. And because of that, they weren't going to release it. So there had to be a personal conversation and like a debate between Howard Hughes and this guy Breen that was running the whole thing, so that a film could be shown to people. Like why that just shows there's one guy that's standing in between you and just watching a movie, and the movie's not even that bad.
Is that not a rule in America? No nudity before 10 p.m. on television?
I have no idea what. I don't watch television anymore. I hate television. I hate film, basically.
Neither do I. But
I don't know.
We've seen like censorship's been going like crazy for forever. Like we've seen it with video games, we've seen it with TV, we've seen it with movies. Obviously, the most extremes. If you look at places like Germany, they censor a hell of a lot, very unnecessarily.
Oh my God, we're gonna become Nazis again if we don't censor everything. We're Germany.
We can't have enemy soldiers be humans in Half-Life. Valve, make them robots. So wait, what? Make them robots? Yeah, make them robots. We can't have the protagonist kill people. Oh yeah, and all the NPCs. You can't kill them either. So,
it's funny. It's funny that Half-Life 2's villain is named Breen, and the villain of this story is also named Breen.
I do believe
Germany and censorship. It's
I think they've changed the whatever law was there since the beginning has been lifted. That was a few years ago, so now they're allowed to. I don't know if it's a social norm yet, but they can now talk about and show swastikas and all sorts of other paraphernalia.
Yeah, but that's only swastikas. There's still a lot of censorship happening in Germany in terms of what they watch. It's not as extreme as it was, but it's still there.
But I remember Disney made a big song and dance about how they had the first gay kiss in Star Wars when it came to the Rise of Skywalker, but it was two background characters that could be easily cut out from the Chinese version of the film.
Hey, look, we had a gay kiss in our film. Give us a pat on the back.
So I watched the Chinese version, so I didn't see it because you put it in the background so you could still make money from China. God knows you're not making enough money in the US anymore.
So, like the people that we mostly cover have severe cases of undiagnosed epiphenia, where they are just drawing weird connections and parallels together.
Well, they haven't. I think they're all trying. They form their idea and then they make a video. They build the video around the idea that they've created before they've even gotten there. So, or while they're watching it, they go, my theory is confirmed. It is just like this thing. And then even if there could be evidence against it or there's some more measured take on it, why would they do that? It's this. I mean, what is this? This is all about, look, the gay nightmare. It's all about everybody's homophobic, right? What else is it? Film is homophobic and we need to make it gayer. It's an agenda thing, right? Or is he telling the history of how everybody's not wanted gay films to exist from 1934 to 60 something? Or Nightmare on Elm Street subtly doing it. What is the overall thesis of this again?
We don't know yet. We're getting there, though.
He's made a couple points. You know what I mean? The Hays Code is the reason why they didn't have it. Absolutely. And there was definitely intentional gay subtext and pretext in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. What's the point? I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's coming. I can feel it in my bones.
You can feel it up a shoe up your ass.
I can feel it up my ass. It's coming.
Not arse, not ass, arse.
My arse.
Say it the British way.
I can feel it up my arse. Wasn't too nice, like.
No, it wasn't. It was downright terrible.
It's not only the Irish that say arse.
It was Skyrish, Scottish and Irish at the same time.
Obviously, same place.
The Skyrims.
Oh,
yeah.
that wasn't really Scottish, real that much.
Skyrim belongs to the Nords. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, finally awake.
All right, let's keep going.
In the 1930s was euphemistic for homosexuality. Screenwriters began to make movies between the lines, and subtext became the only way to make anything even approaching a gay film.
Wait. The Maltese Falcon? Come on. That
He's gay. Yeah, this character's gay in the Maltese Falcon. This dude, he's absolutely subtly supposed to be gay.
I remember watching it. Was that a gay scene? I don't think so.
No. His character is just supposed to be played as a homosexual, but the only way that they could manage that was to yeah, absolutely.
Peter Lorre?
Yeah, Peter Lorre's character in this, I'm pretty sure, is written by Raymond Chandler to be gay in the novel.
Okay, okay, that's interesting because when he's playing on screen and he has what's the other guy's name? They're usually on screen at the same time. Sydney something or other. They're in a lot of films together, and they're always sort of like playing up their roles, and they're always the same roles. So I was like, is he gay in this one and not in other ones? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's specific. It's what they write the character as, and because it's so subtle, because of the Hays Code, you can't really tell sometimes. And some people, I feel like, extrapolate too much in one direction or the other. But absolutely, I think I'm gonna have to look up the book to back up what I'm saying. But yeah, we can continue.
Sure. Okay.
He's
The only way to make anything.
Yeah, I know. I'm not surprised because we're talking about a noir, so there's lots of elements of sexuality and murder and dark things. So it makes sense. You could do those things and have them expressed. In the film, probably not, just because of the time period.
I don't know if it's written like this or not.
Yeah.
A gay film. Horror had its share. In 1936, Universal Pictures released Dracula's Daughter, featuring a vampire who was coded as a lesbian, but not outright said. Due to the condemnation of homosexuality by the Hays Code, anything remotely gay could only get by the censors if it were the subject of ridicule or fear. By the late 60s, the production code had become difficult to enforce due to changing attitudes, and by 1968, an early version of the rating system we know today was its replacement. Homosexuality was allowed, technically, but in practice it was still regulated to subtext, inference, and characters who were outwardly villainous. According to Monsters in the Closet, Homosexuality in the
What?
Horror Film by Harry
Characters that
M.
were villainous. So I want a gay character. Sure, they've got to be a villain, though. That wasn't a rule, surely.
I just want to point out that it's a Dashiell Hammett, not Raymond Chandler. I was confusing my bogeys. Dashiell Hammett wrote The Maltese Falcon, not Raymond Chandler. Anyway, I can't find in the text that he's gay. I don't know if it's played that way or what, or I don't know. But there is camp in it.
Benshoff. For the first time in film history, openly homosexual characters became commonplace within the genre, sometimes as victims, but more regularly as the monsters themselves. The monsters' violent acts were increasingly defined in overtly queer terms, and perhaps not surprisingly, non-straight sexuality in non-horror films was also defined as monstrous.
That's interesting. Okay.
To have a coded gay character in a horror movie like A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 as both the protagonist and sympathetic was a defiant and surprising act. There is nothing inherently wrong with having the villain character of the story be gay, but it's an altogether different thing to have a character in the story be the villain because he is gay. That their homosexuality is...
I don't think that's ever implied.
Oh, he's a villain because he's gay.
Is that what he was saying?
Yes.
So there's
we can
one
replay
point
it.
into the crazy territory.
Yeah, we're finally getting there.
Character of the story be gay, but it's an altogether different thing to have a character in the story be the villain because he is gay. That their homosexuality is...
Yeah, that's it.
He's the villain
where is that
because
written?
he's gay.
What
Renegade
story is
Cut.
it? What story is explicitly the character is gay and he's like, therefore I'm evil. I must be evil as possible.
Yeah.
You won't let me be gay, so I will be evil then.
But he's
I
like,
know that that's an idea.
But he
Where is that,
knows
though?
that the
Casino
original
Royale,
intention
maybe? No.
was to, like, it's positive inclusivity. But then he's trying to say, oh, well, they may have been purposely trying to do it this way, but it has a negative connotation. It might have a negative connotation, and that's the problem.
Sorry, Skyfall.
Didn't the guy that played Freddy Krueger say it could be about self-hatred? So why is it about other people hating or something? I don't know. Whatever. Here's more craziness. Let's get crazier. Let's keep going. All right, chat. Forward unto dawn.
Part of why they are cast in a negative light. That this sexuality itself is wrong and must be staked
But
through
that's
the
not
heart.
what the film is saying at all. I don't think that's what any
That's
horror film ends up saying. That you're
That's-
gay, so therefore you're the villain.
That's
The
very
fuck?
hyper interpretive. That's very. That's like wow. It's like School of Movies levels of crap.
Reinforces wrong-headed ideas about homosexuals being predatory. Jesse is struggling with his sexuality.
The film says homosexuals are predatory.
Who says that homosexuals are predatory? What is that stereotype from?
Weird people?
Like specifically?
Maybe it's
like
gonna
all
be-
homosexuals. They're all predatorial. Where is that?
Anyway,
where's that
he's
from?
saying that's what things like Nightmare on Elm Street are apparently inferring.
But when has that been a cultural mainstay of some sort of homophobic culture, so called? Where is that? I don't even think that's not Christian theology. That's not. I don't even think that's even Muslim theology or whatever. Any anti-gay sentiment, right?
I think maybe it's like
it's usually like you went astray. You're sinning or something like that. You went the wrong path.
maybe
Something's
it's-
wrong. You're just confused. We have to shock you. Bzz, bzz. That's usually what it's like hate the sinner, not the sin, and it's because people don't want to be seen as hating other people just for whatever,
Maybe-
a choice or a what they were born as or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Maybe it's the semi-association with Catholic priests performing pederasty
But the thing that's interesting about that is that there's not the studies on that specifically did not note that it was gendered, that it wasn't specifically homosexual predation. It was convenience. It was because there's an entire psychological condition that's associated with people that are in celibate religious conditions and who they choose to initiate some sort of tryst with or whatever they do, molestation or whatever it is. The point of that is that it's about convenience. It's about what's accessible, and it's the inaccessibility of people within the same age group or the same like orientation or whatever it is. So it could be male or female in that condition. It's just that the Catholic Church has male like priest altar adepts, boys. Basically altar boys. If it was altar girls, you'd hear all about the altar girls. That's the idea behind the psychology of it. So it's very weird to me that someone is doing the slander thing where it's like, you are all just homophobic the whole time. You just hate gay people. The only way you could have gay people in a movie is if they were the bad guy. I'm like, whoa there, Kimasabe. Hold on. Slow down.
And his sexuality is something that he fears, but he himself is not monstrous. He is kind and sensitive and has awkward.
So what's the point in what you're talking about?
He's not the villain. What are you talking about?
He's just being manipulated by the villain, and the villain wants to possess his body, as far as I can remember. I've never
but that's
seen
not a sexual thing. That's just he's a dream.
It's got
demon.
nothing to do with his gayness.
But yeah, but he's implying Freddy Krueger is gay. It's like what? No,
Freddy Krueger is implied as a child molester and killer. That's the whole reason why he is an evil villain.
Yeah, because he's doing terrible things.
Yeah, he's a terrible, terrible person. Did he miss out on the backstory of who Freddy Krueger was before he became that thing?
He was raped.
He was a guy.
Yeah, his kid. Yeah, his mother was raped, but
No, obviously it was a typo.
Wait, hold on. Dunn was explaining. Go on.
I think his backstory is like he is the offspring of 100 insane people that just raped a nun who got trapped alone with a bunch of guys.
Dude, yeah, it's fucked up. He's got a fucked up backstory, and he preyed on kids basically. And that's not about that's he's not gay. He's a monster.
Oh, Glib, obviously guy was a typo for gay.
If I was gay and I heard Renegade Cut saying, yeah, Freddy Krueger, he's gay coded, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you want the psychopath to be on our team? What are you?
Well, no, and then specifically inferring that apparently, according to the film, he's a gay, he's a psychopath because he's gay.
So what about the fact that he's a psychopath where he's hunting down women in the first one? And that's the one that he's obsessed with. Whatever, who cares? Who gives a shit? It's a fucking 80s horror movie. It's intended for space children.
Lots of subtext here for all the deep meaning behind character motivations. It's like,
this is Gay Nightmare on Elm Street, right? But all of the other ones, the vast majority of them that don't have these subtexts because it wasn't made by the same people, yeah, we're gonna ignore those for the sake of this video. Okay, fine.
Now we're entering Crazy Town.
Yes, now we have entered Crazy Town. We have reached orbit. The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
We're going
Dance moves. Jesse has become a kind of gay icon, especially in the horror genre that did not have much in the way of gay protagonists at the time. Jesse's struggle with his emerging sexuality is shown in a metaphor by a seductive man both wanting his body and leaping out of his body, taking over. In the narrative, this is terrifying. Freddy Krueger possessing you and forcing you to murder people is horrific. But in terms of the gay subtext itself, why would audiences find this scary? Well,
they don't.
It's got nothing to do with gay.
If he's an in-the-closet gay dude and audiences are there to see the horror movie and it's subtle enough where they don't notice it, but the people that are intended to notice it, that's pretty good work, isn't it? What else do you want?
I'd say so, yeah.
No, but apparently he doesn't want what could possibly be interpreted as, oh, he's the antagonist because he's gay.
I'm trying to grasp the concept that the villain is seducing the hero.
He's trying to force his body. He's trying to force himself into the guy's body so he can go into the real world.
I'm quite sure at no point is the guy like, yeah, it's a great idea. Let's do that. Like, no. That's the conflict, okay?
Now let's contextualize the gay subtext of the film with what was happening in the 1980s and attitudes about homosexuality.
Okay.
In a study in 1984, the year prior to the release of this film, a study of anti-homosexual attitudes was released. Investigators broke down heterosexuals' fears of gay and lesbian sexuality into 3 topic areas. 1. Homosexuality as a threat to the individual, that someone you know, or you yourself, might be homosexual. 2. Homosexuality as a threat.
Whoa. Okay, we're reaching Maggie May fish crazies.
I'm just trying to process this.
Buffering.
Might be homosexual. Yeah, they also might be a dog. It could be many things. Homosexuality is a threat to others. Homosexuals have been frequently linked in movies and other media to child molestation, rape, and violence. Okay.
I called it. Called it.
Because Freddy Krueger might be homosexual. I'm quite sure body possession is external to wanting to have sex with a male. Yeah, it's a bit specific in the fantasy element as opposed to sexuality. A little different there. I'm not saying it can't be, but it's not implied. Unless there's examples you could point to. This is really, really vague. Okay.
Threat to others. Homosexuals have been frequently linked in movies and other media to child molestation, rape, and violence. 3. Homosexuality as a
Whoa
threat
there,
to the
buddy.
community and
That's
other-
not just movies. That's also human psychology. That's been seen as a pattern too. So sorry, Renegade Cut. I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to read some books.
Homosexuality is a threat to the community. How is it a threat to the community? What are you talking?
Gay people might look. How you can't say that you were born a certain way and that you're also like that you can convert something. Those are two different things, right? If someone's born that way, then they're not going to convert somebody to be gay. You know what I mean? So the idea of them being a threat to the destruction of nuclear family values or whatever, Christianity, that kind of thing. It's like, whose narrative is that? That sounds like a victim narrative. That sounds like a victimization creating narrative. You know what I mean? Like, we can't let these homosexuals around. They'll corrupt our children. That sounds like both the hyper Christian argument, the hyper zeal argument, and also the hyper gay argument. It's like, hell yeah, we're gonna get your kids. We're gonna raise them to be gay, just like us. Like, is that in Nightmare on Elm Street too? Is that how everybody in film?
Usually that would be associated with an older gentleman, not someone on the same age. So can't see that working out in that story, at least.
Pretty sure that predation is seen as negative across the board, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. But associating also with homosexuality is like maybe, but give us examples that we can point to and say in a movie, this is what happens. So there's a possibility, but we can't just say these are things. These are elements in a narrative. You're like, great. Which narrative? Tell us. Show us. Give us an example we could dissect. But this is like, yeah, it's a possibility. Sure. Lots of things are possible.
Just doesn't sound like the world I grew up in, to be honest.
Yeah. And I remember all the horror films like Poltergeist and Friday the 13th, all those other horror films in the 80s. Like those were just seen as horror films. They weren't seen as horror films. Plus there was all this homosexual erotic content. It was mostly date night between heterosexuals or everyone off on some vacation in the woods or what have you. That could have sexual overtones, but that was it as far as it went. Mad Courier 6. Anime and manga have homosexual characters too, of course. They have entire genres dedicated to it. They handle them just as people and not some kind of diversity quota. Exactly. There's complete dedicated genres to male and female homosexuality, as well as in actual stories. And it's not just homosexuality. They make fun of it. Sometimes they make it as a beautiful thing. It's all sorts of elements. And writers are free to say whatever they like. It's great. So, always a good thing in Japanese manga. Anime is a little different, but that's because the '90s with Utena. I think that's the latest one. Sailor Moon had some elements of that, especially with the actual later Sailor Scouts that were homosexual. I'm sure there's more examples in the '90s. I just can't think of them right now, but they're out there. Japan's a totally different culture. They're very accepting of human conditions compared to the Western world.
Other components of culture. Homosexuals supposedly represent the destruction of the procreative nuclear family, traditional gender roles, and family values. For Americans in the 1980s, and let's face it, many Americans today, there is something monstrous about a homosexual.
No, the times are completely different. I don't think many Americans today are fearing about the big gay. At least, especially in the mainstream of like what people think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of examples of this, but the worst case I can think of is people who are going onto a dating website and they're not sure whether someone's a tranny or not. I think that's as bad as it gets. But no, we're not. I don't think anyone's intimidated by people with specific sexual interests. I don't think that's ever been made a bad thing, at least in my generation. So.
Sexual, or someone who is transgender, or anything that is not strictly heterosexual and cisgender lurking inside you and striving to get out. A gay nightmare.
This is another case of reading too much into something.
Like when Maggie Mae Fish said, "Oh, and we all believe that incest is bad, and we totally wouldn't, and a bunch of conservative Christians totally wouldn't elect a president who wants to actively plow his own daughter."
Oh, I also remember her reading far too much into some Muslims pray.
Oh, yes.
Muslims pray. That means they somehow created the zombie apocalypse.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I forgot about that shit.
Zack Snyder is an anti-Semitic. What is he?
And anti-Muslim.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Fascism.
Oh.
Fascism.
Hello.
Litdev's here.
Fastest fascism.
Fascism.
Is in the house, baby.
Litdev is the darkness in the night.
Renegade Cut is how many times has it said fascist before, or is it homophobic?
He hasn't said fascist.
No, he hasn't used any of that yet.
No,
However,
no terms. He's going to lose his progressive card soon.
Litdev, we have to give you the rundown. So apparently, Nightmare on Elm Street is about what did it say? Apparently, it projects that you are the villain because you are gay.
No, Nightmare on Elm Street says child predators are bad. That's what Nightmare on Elm Street teaches us.
Oh, we how far have we got from when he starts talking about? Fuck, I've already forgotten what the exact quote is. Just go back a little bit for Litdev. He can see for himself how stupid it is.
Nightmare on Elm Street is not that deep of a movie. Okay, it's just about a child predator who comes back from the dead to haunt the people who murdered him.
Right.
That's what it is. It's not Citizen Kane over here. It's not the. There's not layers and layers and layers of things going on here. It's just a guy who comes back from the dead, a child predator who comes back from the dead and kills the children of the people who murdered him. I think there's demons inside him or something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was the gayness trying to get out of him.
I don't see how.
There is nothing inherently wrong with having the villain character of the story be gay, but it's an altogether different thing to have a character in the story be the villain because he is gay.
But Freddy Krueger's not gay.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
not though. He's not gay. Show me where he's gay. Show me.
Just keep playing for
He's
Litdev.
definitively gay because he's not gay. He's attracted to children. Like he's a P to the D to the E to the D to the O at the very worst. And that's what's being demonized here, and I think that's a pretty good way. It's a pretty good thing to demonize.
Want to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
That their homosexuality is part of why they are cast in a negative light. that this sexuality itself is wrong and must be staked through the heart. It reinforces wrong-headed ideas about homosexuals being predatory.
Yeah, homosexuals
Jesse is-
and hand claws. Those go together. Everyone knows it's the age-old, millennia-old symbol of the hand claw equaling homosexuality. Yeah. Thank you, Renegade Cut, for reminding us of that. Totally real symbol.
Struggling with his sexuality, and his sexuality is something that he fears, but he himself is not monstrous.
Is there any struggle with his sexuality? I can't remember the film.
I don't remember. I don't even remember a gay guy in that film. Because that's not one of the most memorable things of that film. That's something they focused on like at all. What they really focused on was the child predator who came back from the dead through hell magic to get revenge on the people who killed him. That's kind of more interesting. It's kind of more of the focus of Nightmare on Elm Street. The nightmare on Elm Street.
No, but gay.
Yeah, somehow gay, somehow. Okay, whatever, Renegade Cut. Has he provided, what evidence has he provided that this is the case, that this guy is gay and therefore Freddy Krueger equals gay? Because he's not the main character of the movie, right? The main character is Nancy. Nancy's the main character of this franchise, more or less.
But gay.
So here's Mad Courier 6. Long claws equals gay. Does that mean all death claws are gay?
I guess so. I don't know why. I don't know why he was talking about sexuality and gay being a sexuality while he's showing the hand claw. What is that supposed to mean?
Gay.
He is kind and sensitive and has awkward but adorable dance moves.
So he's showing us that he's not a bad person because he's good, which negates the fact he's talking about a villain being gay. And there's no evidence of the main character being gay aside from the subtext, as well as Freddy being gay. So
yeah, there's nothing there as far as I remember. And I like how he's showing us in the movie how well this guy is being presented as a good person. In the movie, that's supposed to be demonizing him.
Jesse has become a kind of gay icon, especially in the horror genre that did not have much in the way of gay protagonists at the time. Jesse's struggle with his emerging sexuality is shown in a metaphor by a seductive man both wanting his body and leaping out of his body.
No,
my
that's
God,
not
dude.
Freddy Krueger. That's not like Freddy Krueger does not do that. Like he's not a seductive man trying to exploit his sexuality. Freddy Krueger does that to everybody. Like he knows your worst fear. He's a literal nightmare. So he knows his worst fear, and that might be his personal fear is confronting these feelings at the very worst. If you look at all the movies and you look at Freddy Krueger, what he does is that he goes out and he discovers your worst nightmare and then he plays it against you. That's why he's so scary. So he'll drag you into, I don't know, being naked at school or something, arriving in your underwear at school or something, and he'll have everyone laughing at you, and then he'll stab you. Or bring you down to the boiler room and stab you or something.
See, there's a great option for the writer. If you're going to have dreamscapes or any sort of dream allegory, why not have that actual fear, people laughing at you that you're gay in this nightmare that Freddy created? That would be, oh, he's gay. This is his greatest fear. This is his greatest problem. He's hiding under the closet or under the carpet all these years. That would be a great example if you have that sort of magical element in your story. But it doesn't happen. Never pops up.
Yeah, and the whole thing about the struggle, like if you actually listen to real life men who actually struggle with their sexuality, that was something that was usually a big deal. Is that when they discover this sort of thing? So yeah, it would totally be a scary thing or something repressed or whatever to have this gay guy who's struggling, supposed gay guy who's struggling with his feelings or his sexuality, be stuff of a negative feeling that manifests as a nightmare. That could definitely happen because it makes him different. It might make him an outcast. He might lose friends over it. So that sort of thing will definitely scare him. And as long as it doesn't mean he's bad, doesn't mean the movie's demonizing him. In fact, Renegade Cut himself pointed out examples of where this guy is being shown as nice and kind in the movie.
Yeah. I had a couple of points. Like this guy, I guess, like is a gay icon in the same way that Poe Dameron is somehow a gay icon.
Right.
And there's also like kind of like on the subject of like being like gay being like a source of conflict in oneself. Like I totally fully agree with that. One of my uncles, my aunt's husband's brothers committed suicide because he just couldn't handle it since he'd been taught all of his life that being gay was wrong.
Yeah, it's not saying the sexuality is bad. It's saying more or less that he could have negative feelings if that were the case. Feeling that could manifest in a nightmare. And Big Bro Little Sis One says, doesn't Freddy sexually attack women in films? Yeah, he sexually attacks people that he can get away with. Like the whole thing is that the last girl, for example, and his whole thing is that he's going to sexually attack them if that's an avenue he can go down to attack them with. Whatever it is he can attack you with, he'll go down that avenue, even if it means like sexually attacking them or turning into like, I don't know, a weird worm monster thing, or turning his hands into needles because you fear going back into your drug addiction. Whatever it is, Freddy Krueger will be there to exploit it. Also, there's the fact that Freddy Krueger is a horror icon. Frankenstein is a horror icon. I never heard this guy being a gay icon in the horror genre.
Well, I think it's like the guy. Well, I think it's like the guy that he's trying to possess is the gay icon, I guess.
Yeah, I never heard of the guy trying to possess being a gay icon in any sense of the word, like any sense of it. Not in the horror genre, not anywhere.
Narrative, this is terrifying. Freddy Krueger possessing you and forcing you to murder people is horrific. But in terms of the gay subtext itself, why would audiences find this scary? Well, let's contextualize the gay subtext of the film with what was happening in the 1980s and attitudes about homosexuality. In a study in 1984, the year prior to the release of this film, a study of anti-homosexual attitudes was released. Investigators broke down heterosexuals' fears of gay and lesbian sexuality into 3 topic areas. 1. Homosexuality as a threat to the individual, that someone you know, or you yourself, might be homosexual. 2. Homosexuality as a threat to others. Homosexuals have been frequently linked in movies and other media to child molestation, rape, and violence. 3. Homosexuality as a threat to the community and other components of culture. Homosexuals supposedly represent the destruction of the procreative nuclear family, traditional gender roles, and family values. For
Well, what do you mean
Americans
by
in
the
1980s,
nuclear family?
It means like father, son,
mommy and
father,
poppy,
daughter,
and
mother,
kids.
and all that shit.
It's like just the standard heterosexual mom and papa pairing with.
But why is it called that though?
The nuclear family?
Yeah,
like a
why is it
nucleus. The atomic family.
Sounds cool.
The basic.
Sounds cool, yeah.
That's kind of just the basic family unit that's been around. That's kind of the average norm for.
It's been around since people have been around.
Yeah, that's kind of the way that people procreate.
And let's face it, many Americans today, there is something monstrous about a homosexual or bisexual or someone who is transgender or anything that is not strictly heterosexual and
I'm gonna have to go
cisgender.
bullshit on that because the way he's making it, he's making it sound like this was all like the intention of the original creator. When he just showed a clip of the original creator at the beginning, where he's like, "No, this is supposed to be, it's subtle, but it's supposed to be a positive diversity. This is the protagonist we're doing here." It's completely insane. It's like he's making this whole conspiracy theory. Like he's going around, like he's like, "Oh well, see, this is in media, like everywhere. Like homosexuality is just horror because it's horror for Americans. It's a nightmare for Americans." It's like, what the fuck are you on about? He's like the meme where you're drawing all these rapid conclusions and you just off your fucking brain.
Yeah, and as far as I remember, again, the main character of Nightmare on Elm Street, I don't think is this guy. I'm pretty sure it's Nancy.
Yeah, this guy is a one-off.
Yeah, it's Nancy's the main character of Nightmare on Elm Street. This guy's like one of the guys who is going to get offed because it's a horror film. It's a horror film.
Yeah, and also like we have the thing of he gets killed. This guy's getting killed.
And also, he's not the only one who gets killed. There are plenty of straight characters in the movie who also get killed. I remember that one girl. She gets I think it's first Elm Street, where she gets sunk into her bed, and then there's like the blood shoots out of the bed. I'm pretty sure she was straight, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Lurking inside you and striving to get out. A gay nightmare.
The gayness
And
inside.
you know what? I remember there's a in I think the Dream Warriors. I know it's not the first one, but in Dream Warriors, Freddy Krueger exploits heterosexuality. Like he'll come with you. He might go at an angle of being in a dream where he is disguised as a beautiful woman, for example.
Right.
And then you'll like start kissing her or whatever, and then suddenly it'll be Freddy's face, and then he'll stab you or something. Yeah, Freddy Krueger will exploit anything to get at you. Anything. Your heterosexuality, your homosexuality, your fears of drug addiction, whatever it is, however he can get at you, however he can have his sadistic fun, he'll get at you because he's an evil child murderer.
Rampaging throughout the country, infecting innocent people, searching to destroy Western civilization and the alleged Christian values upon which the country was built. Because of these attitudes, homosexuality was, and in some cases still is, a source of shame, something to be kept in the closet and hidden, a secret. When Jesse begins to act strangely, he hides what is happening from his parents. Jesse's parents operate in the two ways that homophobic parents often do.
Okay, so now we're associating that he's having this freaky, nightmarish experience every day to potentially how parents would react to their son being homosexual. Really?
Yeah.
Even if Freddy did that, that's exactly what he would do. He likes to do that. He likes fear. He likes to marinate his victims in fear sometimes. Like It from Stephen King's, It. So sometimes he likes to marinate his victims in fear. Sometimes he likes to kill them. I mean, it all depends on what he wants to do. He's a bad guy. The newsflash, Renegade Cut. Freddy Krueger's a bad guy, and he will invade your nightmares. He'll drive you insane, and with waking nightmares. With nightmares are so real and so scary as you fear going to sleep, even if he doesn't kill you.
A dual attack of harsh masculine rejection and condescension under the false disguise of understanding. The former is represented by the father in the film. When Jesse
Is this Nightmare on Elm Street 2? Is that what's good? That's coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I thought it was like a one. I don't know which one it was, but I know 1 and 2. I know Nancy is still in there. Is this guy still actually a main character? I'm pretty sure he's a one-off character still, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm pretty sure Nancy's still the main character.
Absolutely. This is just the character of this movie.
Yeah.
It's interesting to talk about a side character like that, or rather not a main occurring character. So you can do this with secondary characters and tertiary characters as well, but it's not going to be the focus of the story, and it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be a minor theme at best. Maybe a subplot if you're lucky, but it's not going to be a major part of the narrative. So it's like, okay, yeah, he might have a point, but that's not the entire experience of the movie. That's not the entire thrust of the main character, or rather the main villain. So it's nuanced, yes, but it's not a huge element.
Outward signs of trouble, the father ignores this. When he screams in his sleep, Jesse's sister questions this, while the father pretends everything is normal. Later, when strange things start to happen around the house, the father is suspicious of
Also,
Jesse,
isn't
even though he...
this guy's name is Jesse, right? The main character, this character he talks about, his name is Jesse, isn't it?
Suppose.
Yeah, I think this is the guy he's talking about, and he actually does have a romantic interest with his friend Lisa, who is a girl. So is he
That's
definitively gay in the movie, or is it just
he is heterosexual? That is his girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember this gay icon. So he's heterosexual in the movie, but somehow he's a gay icon, and he's a message about how gay people are evil. But he's straight though. Okay. Somehow he's an allegory of how homosexuality is evil, while being straight and having a girlfriend. Okay.
Gay.
Well, thank you, Renegade Cut.
He has done nothing wrong. The father only gets involved after the signs become too obvious to ignore, and when the rest of the community begins to notice. The father's solution is, as he puts it, a good kick in the butt, asserting traditional masculinity on his son to cure him of what he believes is the problem. The mother is seemingly more supportive, but rather than bonding with her son, she believes he must see a psychiatrist. In both cases, we see examples of the mistaken
brain.
belief that
This is not some classic conservative value. This is just a father going, yeah, okay, bring the kid up. Harsh love happens with kids, happens with
Tough
young
love.
adults. Same. Could be a different scenario. Could be any scenario. Same idea.
No, but obviously the idea of tough love is conservative.
Also, what's like the context? It doesn't seem like it's about his sexuality. It seems like the fact that he's like lazy or something.
He's very shy. Like he's like an introvert, shy kind of guy. So he has Lisa, who he's romantically interested in, but from what I remember, he doesn't actually ask her out. He's just friends with her, but he wants to ask her out, but he's too shy to do so. So that's kind of what it is. I guess is why that's the real. That'll be the real message here, if there was one at all. That confidence. Freddy might be preying on him because of his lack of confidence, his weakness, because that's his weakness. Freddy Krueger can assert himself on this guy because this guy is kind of being played as a weak-willed character.
Jesse can be fixed. Ex-gay therapy.
Fixed how?
Conversion.
He's canonically straight in the movie.
And not only that, it's like they're not talking about gay conversion therapy. They're talking about trying to get this demon that's trying to kill this kid in his sleep.
These are demons.
These people are demons. These are demons.
I'm more just thinking about Alex Jones like screaming about gay frogs and demons and such. It's a much more pleasant thought than having to listen to Renegade Cut. I know I voted for this video, but I almost immediately regret voting for this video the moment I started hearing his voice. So I started hearing his voice, like, oh fuck, I did this to myself. I did this to all of you.
Now he does run into somebody at a gay bar who makes him run laps. But I think that's it. Like he's canonically straight. He might be fearing he might be feeling uncomfortable having a man come on to him or something. But I think I'm pretty sure he was canonically straight.
Therapy is a pseudoscientific practice of repressing homosexuality and transforming a homosexual into a heterosexual. In addition to this being ineffective, it's also incredibly harmful both to the homosexual in question, but also to society at large, as the mere existence of the pseudoscience reinforces the idea that homosexuality is deviant or
the mere existence of something. The mere existence of something, apparently, it causes damage. The fact that they used to do this.
Well, he's making a case for why all these practices in the past were bad. It's like, yes, you're right.
Yeah, no shit. Electrocuting someone is bad.
Okay, so I just reread this little clip, and the plot, like a plot summary. I would just to refresh my memory. And yeah, if there was any story about this, because from I remember from the movie and the plot summary, I reread, was that Freddy Krueger kind of possesses him and uses him to as a conduit of coming back and killing people. I think in maybe real life too. But the thing is, if there was any message, it's this kid who is not confident, is very shy, very introverted, very he doesn't have any. His strength of character is kind of weak. That's what he's being portrayed as, and he can't. The whole thing is that he has a relationship with Lisa, who is a friend of his, and he has romantic feelings for, but is not is too shy to ask out. Okay, and at the very end, or towards the end, Freddy Krueger is using his body to attack Lisa with, and the thing is, Lisa is kind of saved because Jesse finally is able to assert his dominance, so to speak, and keep Freddy from killing her. So if there is an arc here, if there is a message being portrayed here, okay, it's that he becomes more confident. He is now able to control his own life out of necessity, to become stronger as a character, character-wise, become stronger mental-wise. Not that he is struggling with his homosexual feelings, but that he is becoming stronger. That's one potential message you could take away from it. As for the homosexual thing, not really. He's actually legitimately in love with Lisa, And there's only one thing, as far as I remember, there's only like one real thing that it points to homosexuality. That's where that part where he's in a gay bar. I think he has a nightmare or something like that, where Freddy dragged him to a gay bar. That's because someone else he thinks is gay or has I think it's his coach or something. And that's part of it, because I think he like fears his coach or something like that. But yeah, he is canonically in the movie straight, but a weak character at the beginning, and he is forced to become stronger as a character, develop a stronger will in order to save Lisa from Freddy.
Be expunged and cured. In 1985, when A Nightmare on Elm
I
Street
hate
2
his
was
fucking
released,
soft voice.
Yeah, it's very boring. I much prefer Movie Bop's voice to this. At least Movie Bop.
I
quality.
think this and this and that way too, and this, and it's just like, oh my god, my brain, fuck off.
Yeah.
it had only been a little over a decade since homosexuality was removed as a listed mental disorder by the American Psychiatric Association. Of course, most
Does
people
Renegade Cut
don't
just,
have a
I don't know, need to put out a video? Is that why this video exists?
Placeholder. It's a lazy placeholder video.
Like, what's popular, and how can I make it into some progressive nonsense? How can I make it to where the people who like it are bad guys?
It's a strange argument to associate this subtext as this is what the story's about, or this is what it could be about. It's like the lens can only go so far. Once the elements or the content is no longer there in the movie, you're stretching it. You're talking about stuff outside of the context, which is not what you do with the lens. You use the lens, you focus on it, and then you stop. There's nothing else to look at. And you could say this could be within the idea of a man having repressed emotions about being homosexual. Yeah, it could be for that part of the movie, and then you can't say it about it any further.
Well, it's like it's basically you have a set of colors that are jumbled together, and you try to focus on like, hey, I'm going to try and see if there's a red color here, and you find there's no red color. It's like, all right, move on, try and find something else.
You know what's kind of cool at the end of this movie, though? The whole thing. So Freddy Krueger is possessing Jesse, and Freddy Krueger is using Jesse's body to be able to kill people in real life, not just in the dream world. And Jesse at that time is he's still weak. He's unable to fight back against Freddy's control, and Freddy's just going crazy. He's killing people at the party, all this stuff. So what happens is that Lisa confesses her love to Jesse, and then kisses Freddy, as a proxy to kissing Jesse. And then once Lisa has confessed her love to him, and once she kissed him by proxy, I guess, that's when he starts asserting himself. That's when he starts fighting back against Freddy successfully, or more successfully. So it's not the power of homosexual awakening or something. It's actually the opposite. It's actually he comes to the realization that the girl he likes actually likes him in return, and basically at the very end of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, it's love that saves the day. Love that gets Jesse to fight back finally against Freddy. His love for Lisa.
But gay.
Tearing him apart, Lisa.
His gay love for Lisa.
Gay.
I guess Jesse's gay love for a girl.
Yes, gay.
Thinking that a character who's canonically heterosexual is homophobic, don't you know?
Okay, just because a guy is like not as masculine as the next guy does not necessarily mean he's homosexual. Like, that's what he's reading into here. Like, just because this guy is not confident, he's a high schooler he's a high school guy who's not confident. Oh, what a rarity, and therefore he's gay. I don't think so. Now, I think this is a shot of the gay bar. This is not a definitive thing where he's gay. I think he finds like the coach he's afraid of here. That's part of it. Maybe he himself fears gay people. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. But there's nothing as far as I remember, and nothing as far as being pointed out in the plot simulators we read, where he's definitively gay. Like his heterosexual love for Lisa is what gets him to fight back against Freddy. So I think Renegade Cut is reading way too much into this, and he built this entire video off of a false premise.
copy of the DSM, or Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, and the mistaken belief continued for a long time in the general public. In fact, it's only been recent that legislation in America has begun to be passed to outlaw conversion therapy as a form of abuse. The context of Jesse's parents being concerned about him is that these fears, mixed with ignorance, were standard among families of the time, and even some families to this day. In the film, Jesse...
Again, he's associating this monster trying to take over his body with the supposed behavior of the family unit reacting to one of their children being potentially homosexual, which is like, okay, yeah, that's a stretch, but you could try to connect the dots there, buddy.
I mean, if he wants to go that way, it could be anything that could be perceived as deviant. It could be, well, he's a furry. That's what Freddy Krueger represents in this movie, where his inner furry sort of feeling.
He wants to use his claws, his furry claws.
Yeah, his furry claws. I'm pretty sure that's a real character, furry claws, like a furry Santa. But he could be anything. Freddy Krueger could represent anything as deviant, and he will willingly become that. So if he finds out that a kid is living in a family group that is, very Christian or whatever, and looks down on homosexuality, he will he will push homosexuality on that person so that to make them feel uncomfortable. They can feel like an outcast. That's
he's
exactly
representing his inner Joe Biden, and he just wants to sniff some kids.
He just wants to sniff some kids. I mean, that's what he is. He's a child predator. He's a child murderer. He will do anything. Freddy Krueger will do anything that will make you feel uncomfortable or bad or scared, whatever it is, because it's in the title. He's a nightmare. That's what he is. He's a living, evil, demonic nightmare.
New idea from chat. Nightmare at YIFCon.
Oh, I wish.
Coming in,
that would be a nightmare.
2021.
And on that note, I'm a brony. No, I'm just kidding.
Jesse has been
Sorry.
infected by Freddy Krueger. He can't get him out of his body. Homosexuality as a kind of infection grew as a concept among Americans during the AIDS crisis. Charles Kaiser, author of The Gay Metropolis, wrote, "Homophobia led
Renegade Cut.
decision maker."
Yeah.
It's a typical Renegade Cut video. It's just he's just playing some pop culture in the background where he goes on a political rant.
Right. That's what it is. He's like, yeah, by the way, back in the 80s, people thought gay people were an infection. And you're like, no, I'm pretty sure that's not what it was.
Here's some clips for Star Wars, and let me go on about fascism for a while.
Yes.
There's this book I read for about 10 minutes. I had this reference about it's like, okay, yeah, that's good.
I know for a fact I'm going to be reading that friggin' Saurian Cinema's Framing Monsters book on my stream.
You got that copy?
Yes, I've already ordered it. It's going to be coming in the mail soon. It is going to be like Dominic Noble having Mr. E.L. James' latest book read to him on stream.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, those really bizarre reviewers who just take something out of they just take their own philosophy or whatever lens they use, and they warp the entire nature of the story to their own design. You're just like, wow, you are just so creative to do that, to interpret Jurassic Park, for example, in that way.
Jurassic Park is transsexual dinosaurs on the loose, on monstrous femininity.
Lots of loose women running around.
I'm pretty sure you could take that to like even the most social justice of social justice warriors, and they'll be like, "Whoa, that's a little far."
Well, they can't say that because then they'll lose the social justice warrior card.
Yeah,
and they'll be targeted next. They'll be targeted for cancellation.
You are exiled from the party.
You have been rated EC10 for summary destruction. From Equilibrium.
Please report to the nearest death squad.
Yeah, please report to the nearest cancellation room.
Cancellation room? Where we will re-educate you on life and death.
No, those do what they do in Equilibrium. Just burn you alive. Just incinerate you. Yeah, it's EC10. This product's been rated EC10 for summary destruction.
To discount this epidemic, partly because they didn't care much about those who were sick, and partly because they believed that as long as they were
oh
straight,
my god, they didn't care about them?
Have to worry.
That's
Yeah,
what
parents-
it was.
Parents didn't care. No one cared. Yeah.
The whole thing about the AIDS crisis was they thought it was just a gay thing. They were hoping. You know what I mean? And the only reason why they thought that was because it was prevalent in the gay community. It wasn't like, yes, kill all the gay people. Yes, finally.
Destroy the gays.
Destroy the
them
gays.
all.
This has been
With the
radiation
gene virus.
emotional content. That's what it's for.
It wasn't the plot of a Metal Gear game. That's all I'm saying. Metal Gear.
I don't think anything is the plot of a Metal Gear game.
It's his own entity. It's his own thing.
It's
Not even Metal Gear is the plot of a Metal Gear.
Yeah, not even
it
that.
changes every time.
I listened to Jeremy John's review of the Phantom Pain, the spoiler review, since I don't care about Metal Gear, and I was just like, what exactly is all this? I have no context at all.
That's exactly what major fans of Metal Gear always say. What is all this? I have no context at all.
When they started modeling the doctor off that Italian doctor who wants to do the first head transplant, you're like, huh, that looks familiar. They use the same guy in the psychiatric ward or whatever the hospital ward where Snake's in the coma for like 7 years, whatever it is.
If you want like a circus of insanity, play Metal Gear. Play Metal Gear Solid. It's fantastic. I remember the Metal Gear Solid 3 where you run into Revolver Ocelot, and he's working for the Russians, and then suddenly he's a double agent for the United States, but he's a triple agent for the Chinese or something.
He's a triple agent.
It's like you have to be a mandatory triple agent at least in the Metal Gear Solid universe to matter.
It's insane.
I think Eva, or what her name was, she was also like, it's Adamska and Eva or something like that. So she was also a triple agent for somebody. Everyone's just triple agent everywhere, except for Snake, he's just a one-off kind of guy. He just works for the United States.
Yeah.
But the boss was at least a double agent. She worked for the United States, but she was pretending to work for the Russians, so that she can pull off some other grand plan. So you usually get to be at least like a double agent or a triple agent or something in there.
It's a mess. The whole series is a mess, and people love it. It's like, that's fine.
It's a delightful mess. It's a very delightful mess.
With apparently like a really hot animated waifu or whatever, or she's called Silence or whatever.
Oh, that's number 5. Yeah.
And Kojima could have just put in a beautiful woman who's scantily clad, and people would complain about it. But suddenly, like, at the end of the day, who cares? Like, is this a character? Is this another anime character? Who cares? Like,
See, to us,
but he made her a backstory. He made a reason why she is scantily clad and everything. That's the power of Kojima.
I know, but to us it doesn't matter. But to everyone else, it's another woman showing off her body. It's like, yes, obviously.
We don't care.
It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's a video game, guys. Anyway, Joe Crazy. I don't get why Renegade keeps citing toilet paper. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these books, I don't know. No one's going to read them or find them.
Yeah, I don't think that I could get away with reading this. I would get canceled so hard. However, not the Jurassic Park one. That stuff's gonna be really funny.
Yeah.
Because it's just out there. This is kind of like, okay, like, I guess it's correct.
Hold on. So I missed half this video or so. Did Renegade Cut ever mention the fact that Jesse is actually canonically straight, like that he is in love with Lisa and all that stuff? Did he ever mention that, or just
no?
So he is going off a false premise.
No. He mentioned that the actor was gay, but not the character he's playing was gay. So
the character is not gay. I don't know about the actor, but the character is not gay.
Yeah, he is not at all mentioned anything about the character being straight within the canon continuity of the film.
And so he just assumes that the character is gay because the actor is gay. It doesn't work that way.
He's making assumptions that the character is closeted.
Assumptions, like it's not in the movie though. He's
there are references to him being closeted according to the director of the film.
Oh, there's references. I mean, but the thing is, it could be according to the director of the film, but in the movie, that's not the case. He's in love with Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
He's in love with Lisa, and her love for him is what caused him to fight back against Freddy's control.
Yeah, that's the problem with any lens. You can't take the entire context of the film or the book as reference. You can only take like the one sentence or the one chapter or the one element to say this is what I see, and then they stretch it out as far as they don't have to stretch it out though. They can just make the argument for that one scene, and that's fine. But he wants to keep here's a book from the 1930s. Here's a book from the 1980s. It's like all these elements. It's like, yeah, you're right. The social culture of the 80s were different. That's true. What's your
were.
point?
It's a little more dangerous to be a gay person or homosexual in the 80s than it is today.
No,
But the thing is, judging by the clues and the hints that are inside this movie, couldn't you make an argument the other way around? What if he's a closeted heterosexual? What if his parents and his family all know that he's gay? They don't just mention it because he lives with them. But Freddy Krueger represents the demonic heterosexuality with hanging over his head, and then Lisa's love for him and her confession for love for him is what frees him at the end. Finally, he's able to embrace these heterosexual feelings and break free. And also by breaking free and embracing these feelings, he's been these heterosexual feelings he's been denying his whole life. He's able to now finally also fight off Freddy Krueger, because remember at the beginning of the movie, he's in love. He's fighting with feelings that he's in love with Lisa, but he does not have the gall or the bravery or what it takes to ask her out. So yeah, I could totally make the other side argument where he's an open homosexual, but he has closeted heterosexual feelings.
That'd be funny as fuck.
He could also make the argument that because he uses the power of love or power of his feelings for Lisa, that he's repressing his gayness, and that's a sign of the times as well. So that's the message of the film they didn't want to share. Okay.
Yeah, if the ending were different, where it's more like what the director wanted and what Renegade Cut wanted, then yeah, I could see that. But the thing is, Lisa's love for him and his love for Lisa is what saves him or kind of allows him to fight back against Freddy.
And I love Lisa so much.
Tear me apart, Lisa.
I love you, Lisa. You're amazing.
You're tearing me apart, Freddy.
Literally.
I did not hit her. It's bullcrap. I did not hit her. I did not.
Actually, might be an interesting story to explore. An open homosexual who has closeted heterosexual feelings and embraces his heterosexuality at the end.
That would actually be kind of funny.
It comes out as straight at the end.
So here's Noble Commando. As if I need justification to see boobs. Yeah, it's
there is no justification. It's not required. However, it is nice if it's there, but it's not required.
Yeah, when you talk about the horror genre, usually it's about young adults or adults that are just becoming of age.
Usually there's some kind of sex scene in there.
There's sexuality implied. And there's lots of B movies, there's lots of horror movies like that in the 70s and 80s that were made. And this is just one of the more mainstream ones. They're the higher grade ones, I guess you could say.
The American horror movie, like the Freddy Kruegers and your Jason Voorhees and everything.
Yeah.
It tends to be like exploring the fear and the uncertainty of coming of age. That's why you always have the Freddy Krueger. Jason Voorhees. Who does he usually kill? Not just teenagers, but teenagers having sex in the middle of having sex or something like that. That's
Obviously, the horror genre is incredibly heterophobic, because in every horror film they have created a culture of attacking heterosexuals openly expressing their affection.
Shiny has secretly Renegade Cut this whole time. Confirmed. Shiny Renegade Cut.
So
it's not hard just to go into the insanity of these people's brains. All you need to do is draw a line through anything. It could be fucking anything, and it's like, oh well, obviously these films are incredibly heterophobic.
What if I did one of these videos like for April Fools or something? But
do it
like what Renegade Cut does, but from the other side, like I just said, this movie is obviously about a homosexual man who is struggling with his heterosexual feelings, and at the very end of the movie, he embraces it.
You'll have to really work hard to make your panty melting voice into the simp voice for a long time.
Hello, I'm a male feminist. I'm going to talk to you about homosexuality.
So this is the previous quote from Noble Commando. Obviously, he was talking about Metal Gear. So
yeah, he was talking about Metal Gear. Yeah,
not the horror genre.
I mean, both, but they're kind of the same a little bit as far as sexuality goes.
Hideo Kojima let's put elements of this. I love movies. Let's put any shit in there and make it make sense. Like, no, it doesn't.
Hideo Kojima is an oddity. I don't know what he's like some sort of mad genius because he does all these things that we usually will say this is horrible, don't do this, and he just does it, and it's just fantastic.
It's like Power Rangers. What? No, don't do it. Do it. Yeah.
He does it. It works somehow. It works somehow. I don't know how, but it works. He just does it. He's like a mad genius. He's like a walking exception to every rule.
Giant robots. Yeah, do it. No, don't. Yeah, that's great. No.
So I guess it's just because he's a good writer, I suppose, who just has crazy ideas and figures out, oh, this is just how I make all these crazy ideas work.
It's funny that
to me, Kojima's like King Boomy from Avatar.
Yeah, or Barrick.
He loved going to the movies with his family. They did it like once a week, apparently. And he was such an audio or a movie file, cinema file.
Yeah,
that he wanted to incorporate that into all of his games, and he just kept going with it. So
I don't know now, but like I don't. It might be influenced, but Snake, like Solid Snake, has a lot of aesthetics parallel to Snake Plissken.
Yep, Escape from New York.
Yeah, I like those movies, by the way. I like yeah, they're pretty fun. They're pretty fun movies.
Same with Snatchers. Same with all his other weird. All his games are weird. They're just sort of low budget until he got up on the rails there at Konami. All right, I'm going to do a bigger game for you. We're going to have voice acting, even though we don't have motion capture. We don't have any proper facial rigging at it because there was no facial rigging back then.
Metal Gear.
Yeah. Just a bunch of mannequins walking around with cutscenes. Like, that could work. And he pulled it off. He pulled it off.
I told you, he's a mad genius. He pulls it off somehow. He does the impossible, and he just succeeds, and it's fantastic. Have you ever heard about the summary? Have you ever heard the storyline of
the tragedy
summarized? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Not quite as insane as Kingdom Hearts summarized, but almost.
That's reserved for the truly people who can take. I've never even bothered to listen. I've only played the first game back in the day, and I was like, this is every Disney character combined with a bunch of SquareSoft characters combined with a bunch of bullshit. I was like, this is enough. I'm good. That was the first one. The first game ever.
If you want to see like the madness of Kojima done wrong, look at the Kingdom Hearts storyline. It's not mad genius, it's just madness.
You can't look at it. There's no actual sense to be made. What's happening?
It's whatever needs to happen, it just happens.
Have you heard the tragedy of Metal Gear?
You know how what was that series, Naked Gun series, where they have like 22 and a half and 33 and 3/4, whatever the hell they started naming their convention? That's what they do in Kingdom Hearts. You think it's a joke? You think it's a parody? It's like, no, they actually do that.
Yeah, they do. They have factions in there.
Anyway, back to the Gay Metropolis.
These are demons.
About it. The Congressional Research Service estimated that the National Institutes of Health had spent $36,100 per toxic shock death in fiscal 1982, $34,841 per Legionnaire's disease death, and just $3,225 per AIDS death in fiscal 1981 and $8,991 in fiscal 1982. Congressional staffers joked that NIH really stood for Not Interested in Homosexuals. The aforementioned book, Monsters in the Closet, references Jesse's soaked appearance as resembling night sweats among AIDS patients, though that appears to be just happenstance. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 doesn't only depict fear among the gay community about threats from outside, but internalized homophobia.
There it is.
Does it? Where is the gay community a big thing in Nightmare on Elm Street 2?
No.
I don't remember it being so.
Just the gay bar. That's about it. The
joke. Yeah, that's all I remember of it. It's just the gay bar. Okay, it's just the gay bar.
Internalized homophobia. Here we go. Okay. Waiting for that internal problems to surface up.
Shame. In one scene, Jesse meets up with Coach Snyder at a bar by accident. Schneider makes Jesse run laps while he watches, and then tells Jesse to hit the showers. Freddy,
you don't think that's an insecurity? You don't think that's a nightmare about his insecurity about being physically unfit or being physically less?
No, obviously it's about homosexuality.
Obviously. It can't be the fact that he's being seen as physically lesser than the other boys. That he has a nerdish physique or whatever, and that he meets a coach in a gay bar because he doesn't have a masculine build. Therefore, he must be like a wimpy like a gay guy, right?
he's
maybe that's
losing his mind.
Yeah.
I think
It must be because he's closeted gay. It must be. It can't be any other thing.
George Kells actually had a very good comment. He said, "Women show off their bodies. Have you ever been on the internet?"
Hey, has you seen any cosplayers ever?
Yeah, cosplayers these days just kind of dress like nerd themed hookers a lot of the time.
Yeah, they do. I mean, some of them do. Yeah,
that's just a fact.
That's why women use Twitch. That's how it works.
Yeah,
that's why OnlyFans exists.
Oh yeah, that's something else.
Noel Commando super chat. It's just a restatement of as if I need justification to see boobs.
Here's Nathan Higgins. He complains about AIDS during funding, but it still gets more than type 1 diabetes. Now, which of those is easily preventable, you think?
Oh.
What's the bigger problem? Pretty much.
The deep burn.
Yeah.
Funding from the government, man. You know, nobody funds things that are small or like don't affect a lot of people because then people aren't scared of it. But, you know, everybody wants cancer research because no one wants to get cancer, that kind of thing. Nobody expects to get type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, so don't eat too much McDonald's. You can kind of avoid it by not eating too many of those horrible, horrible things.
And if you want to avoid AIDS, don't eat too much ass. No,
yeah, it's bad for you.
It's fast food. You know what I mean? Too much of it
is bad for you. Fast food is bad for you. Bad for you. Okay. Remember how the Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, made an entire movie about that one line from the original trilogy where Han Solo said, "Hey, I did that Kessel Run," and they made a whole movie about that thing. It's kind of
they did that with Rogue One as well.
Yeah,
like many Botham's dead gives us information. Oh,
yeah,
another film.
Oh, that one line from the movie. Let's make an entire film out of it. That's what Renegade Cut with this did with this video. He got one small little detail from this movie and turned it into a giant video, like this whole thing, which is just reading too much into it.
Yeah, that was a link that we could watch the link that Glib sent me. It's just basically what is it?
No, it's the scene we've already seen, didn't he say?
Well, it's a 5-minute clip. I don't know if we want to see it, but it's just some implied sexuality. You're like, that's about it. It's not a huge problem.
We've already seen it within the video.
Yeah. Anywho.
Binds and then murders the naked coach. The scene feels like a metaphorical gay panic attack. Jesse, having been around
Really?
Gay panic attack. Okay.
A metaphorical, not a gay panic attack, whatever the hell a gay panic attack is, but a metaphorical one.
Okay, having a gay panic attack is narratively correct. Okay, smart boy.
Yeah, all right. I'll go reference my my dictionary or something, find out what that means.
Housed by the possibility of a sexual encounter with the coach, murders him rather than admit to his feelings.
What feelings?
Was that Keith Sutherland?
Oh, whoa. Okay. That's okay. That's a little bit off the crazy rails.
I don't remember that. Does Keith Sutherland play that guy? That was interesting. It looked like him. I don't know if it was him or not.
No, I don't think so. I have to look that up, but I don't think so. That wasn't.
It was a long time ago. I think he was still like a teenager at that point.
Big Bro Little Sis one actually says, "Dear gosh, Freddy is gay. Jason punishes straight. This brings so much meaning to Freddy versus Jason."
Oh dear.
I don't think Freddy is gay though. I think he likes to murder children. That's it.
Yeah. He's
really big on killing women too. Yeah.
He just kills lots of people.
Well, you see, the horror film media is incredibly sexist. Now, actually, people I can't parody that. There's actually people who
there are people online who believe that the moment.
No, your voice needs to be softer, Dunn. It needs to be softer voice.
You need to sound like masculinity is your.
You need to sound
or
like
Macintosh.
You are totally
like Macintosh.
Your own ass all the time, and you have to speak as softly as possible when you put on this voice for YouTube.
Like you mainline soy into your veins or something.
Inject that shit right into my veins.
Shortly after an intimate moment between Jesse and Grady, Freddy reemerges stronger than
An
ever
intimate
and
moment.
lays waste.
She just woke him up in the middle of the night. Really? There's not having an intimate moment. He was just close to him. I woke him up, and because something was wrong, I don't know. His whole thing is he's going on the assumption that everyone just assumes that Jesse is gay, a gay character, which is not the case. It's not the case in the movie. He's not. I don't care what the director said. It's not in the movie. Okay.
It's not gay.
To Jesse's closest male friend. As the embodiment of Jesse's internalized homophobia,
Okay, here we go.
Obviously, it's because they had a gay intimate moment. It's not because Freddy's trying to take over my body. Help! You're my best friend. Help! It's definitely not that.
Oh yeah, more evidence apparently that he's gay. He has no chicks on the door.
Oh yeah, obviously.
On the door it says no chicks. Obviously,
I like how on the door it says no nerds,
no turkeys,
and no turkeys. Is that any kind of turkey, or is that just of the jive variety?
He's very specific about his bird. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess this is also an argument of I forgot. Like progressives don't think that men can be friends. They're either enemies, they fight each other, or men are just in a relationship, just romantically involved. There's no in between. They hate each other or they love each other.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
They can't just be friends. That's something that can happen.
Indulging in homosexual acts. When Jesse and his girlfriend are about to have sex, rather
this is very
Jesse and his
homosexual.
girlfriend. I guess she's just his beard, even though his power comes from her love for him and his love for her. That's how he fights off Freddy, or begins to fight off Freddy.
rather than kill her, Freddy tries to participate in the sexual act. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is an iconic gay film, even though most of the gay content is beneath the
I've never
surface.
heard described as an iconic gay film before. Never. Not once.
Iconically gay. Like, really?
I've rarely heard of anything being called an iconically gay film.
I'm pretty sure like Brokeback Mountain might be an iconically gay film.
Right,
But
yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, never heard of it being iconically gay.
Could be denied by the screenwriter. In fact, he denied it for years, and enough people believed him. We are decades after the removal of the Hays Code, and representation has gotten better, but it still has a ways to go. A 2018 report by GLAAD found that only about 12% of the 109 major studio releases it tracked last year had even a single LGBT character, which was down significantly from the year prior.
Oh no.
Could it be that the writers just say, we don't have space in this for this kind of character, we're sorry, or somebody just doesn't want to write that sort of character? It's just because they don't find it interesting. That it's not homophobia or homosexual and sexual bias. It's just sometimes things just don't work that way.
One would think things would get better every year, but that's not always the case. Most gay films are independently made and therefore do not receive wide releases. You know what would be a great way to have more gay representation in film with little risk to studios? Make more gay horror movies.
Why? What other any other genre? Any other type of movie?
What point is there?
Oh, we're past the 2-minute mark. Oh no, it's gonna get crazy now. There we go. Random accusation. Why don't they just make more horror films with gay characters? Like, why? What's the point? Is it like two genres or two demographics? It's like, well, there's the people who like the young adult horror film where they're off on some vacation on March break or what have you, up in the cottage somewhere, and there's lots of sexual tension. Let's make them gay. Like that would really work. Like what? Why? No one would like that. It's not for the right people. I mean, it could hit some people, but not the main demographic of the original genre. And you could try it. This is an attempt. Go ahead. I would like to see someone make a gay horror film. See how well that would do.
Yeah. Well, it might be better than most of the schlock horror films that have been coming out recently.
Well,
I haven't heard of any good horror movies coming out recently.
It is hard to make good horror. That's true. It's usually schlocky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jump scare after jump scare.
Oh God.
Or all of those stupid found footage horror movies that are chasing the paranormal activity.
Oh, we haven't seen. Are we ever going to watch Get Out? I don't know if we're gonna
Those
do
have
that.
gone to YouTube.
Yeah.
Those films, like, they're on YouTube now. So why bother releasing them to cinema?
Due to the combination of low budgets and willingness of audiences to see horror movies sight unseen, the horror genre is the lowest risk for a major studio. Horror.
This is interesting. Okay, so likely profit has the highest opportunity for horror. Really?
Because the profit, the money that's usually used to make it is often a lot lower than others, I believe.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it doesn't mean the amount; it's just the ratio between cost and what you're getting out of it. Okay.
Horror is as close to bulletproof as it gets. Why not more horror movies with gay protagonists? If Hollywood
Yeah, why not? If they're so cheap, go for it. What's the reason, Renegade Cut? Tell us.
studios want to dip their toes into gay content, but also get a little nervous about their bottom lines, horror is the least risky way to do it. There have been a host of gay horror films of late, but they aren't coming out of big American studios. They're coming from Europe or from the American independent scene where few Americans will see them, and it's important to see people who differ from yourself. Familiarity breeds acceptance, and lack of representation reinforces negative traits and othering of people. That's critical, right?
Oh, that was a load of stuff.
Okay.
So what is this he's showing up? Trump promised LGBT friendly his first year arbitration against these from Trump's ban on transgender military service to his failure to acknowledge Pride Month. His administrator has a long record of anti-LGBTQ.
This is from German Lopez at Vox.com. Gee, I wonder what his agenda is.
Yeah, Vox doesn't have an agenda. It always goes down to Trump.
As far as I'm aware, the transgender military thing was only that they weren't paying for the service. Like, they wouldn't pay for you to become transgender, which that's not. I don't think that's a huge issue, but
not using taxpayer money to pay for someone's operation, that's bigotry. That's bigotry.
I think there's certainly a thing to be made there where it's not necessary. It's not a necessary transition. It's not, life and death kind of thing. But I don't remember if maybe more evidence for that. I'm just remember because a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I think this is probably around about. I remember a while back when I was a social justice warrior. I remember that. Oh no, Trump's never mind. Anyway,
yeah, it's always if you look at these things. It's not as bad as it seems.
And then the other part is, he fails to acknowledge Pride Month. It's like, so fucking what? I don't care if you want a special month. I'm not going to celebrate it. As we don't celebrate straight month. We don't celebrate whatever fucking month. So what's the point? Why do you need your own special month? Why not just have every day be your month? Also, I don't fucking care. Well, it's stupid. I don't agree with it. But apparently that means you're transphobic. It doesn't matter if you're like for or against. If you're for, like, if you have nothing against trans people and you don't support this, apparently that still makes you transphobic.
It's not good. It's never good enough. It's never good enough.
Yeah, you have to list all your pronouns, guys, always.
All the time. All 10,000 pronouns. So here's Nightmare on Elm Street 2. So Trump, right? Like, really?
But anyway, somehow Renegade Cut managed to fit Trump into a video about Nightmare on Elm Street, which I wasn't even expecting this to be about Nightmare on Elm Street. I thought
the gay nightmare.
I just saw the gay nightmare, and I thought it was going to be extremely general in horror films. It
always comes down to Trump. It always comes down to Trump. It's always Trump.
We live in the age of Trump.
The age of Trump.
He is like kind of just an abrasive and obnoxious person in many ways, but it's just just desensitized to his BS at this point.
If it's never anyone's month, then that means we are all equally not having a month. How about that?
What did Morgan Freeman say? They asked him, how do you fight racism? How do you get rid of racism? And he's like, well, stop talking about it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and he was against Black History Month. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, there's no White History Month. There's no. So why do we need a Black History Month? It's like, do you have an Arab History Month? Do you have a this? No, we don't need one.
There shouldn't be any
just
history months
history.
for anything.
We should
It's
every
just
month
history.
should be just History Month.
Yeah,
no
just
one's
history.
history should be special.
To Morgan Freeman, Black history is just history.
Yeah,
It's just history.
exactly. It's either everybody's special, which means that everybody's on the same playing field, or we just, look at history as this thing that's all of the information that we know about something that happened in the past and is happening now and then will happen in the future.
Well, not
After we get there.
Not
There should be
occurring.
like a White History Month and a Hispanic History Month. Like Trump should make those. They would go crazy.
But I just meant perspective-wise, like history is the collection of, the future, the present, and the past looking back. If you get what I'm saying.
Oh, not occurring to Sidney Chaffee, who's like, it has to be malleable. You have to get interpretations.
Right, okay, I thought you were correcting me from your behalf. No, that's stupidity. Yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of phased out with all this, like, I don't know, this propaganda that Renegade Cut is putting out there. But
there should
I
be
love
more
this.
representation in all of our horror films. Like, why?
Banning transgender people from the military, because that's going to be a problem, is not like discrimination against LGBTQ people, really. I understand that it's discriminating against transgender people like across the board, but it's because people want to fight this idea that gender dysphoria and all these things are mental disorders. But I don't think that represents mental stability, and I also don't think that the military needs to be brought down by all this gender nonsense.
Well, one thing that I kind of find extremely funny is that because social justice wanted like gender dysphoria to be no longer done as a mental disorder, now on most American insurance companies, they're not gonna they cannot just not cover it on their insurance. So now like a load of people have been kind of fucked. Like when they want to actually become transgender, it has to come out of their own pocket now and not their insurance. So congratulations, social justice. You've actively hurt transgender people because you couldn't live that one thing was listed as a disability or a disorder.
Everybody's accepted, and then when it's not enough to be accepted as like a person who you are, but you may have some like flaws in you, everybody has to be made special and spectacular. I'm just like, fine. But I keep losing, I can't pay attention to all this stuff. I can't pay attention to all the letters that eventually LGBTQ is going to be more letters than the actual alphabet. And the rainbow flag is going to have more colors than there are on a 16.7 million, monitor or whatever. It's like, what
grid.
What is it that we're trying to get at here? We've reached the insane part.
Yeah.
The gay nightmare.
Trump, you do know
what does
that
Trump have to do with anything?
There is actually an extended version of LGBT, and it's LGBTQIAPKAH. I'm actually looking at what that means.
It means a bunch of bullshit.
I think they have like an A in there, which stands for allies and stuff. So it gets pretty crazy.
Allies and asexual.
If you are confused about this is what I'm going about now. If you are confused, what is the Q? Q is for queer. Q is also apparently for questioning. So Q is for queer, and it's also for questioning if a person is their sexuality. I is for intersexual. A is for asexual. A apparently is also for achromatic. A is also for ally. P is also for pansexual. P is also for polygamous.
We need like some sort of like a sing-along song for this stuff so we can remember it all.
Polygamous is a sexuality. I thought that was just a relationship.
It's sexuality now. It's sexuality now.
A K is also for kinks, fetishes. Wait, what kink? If you have a kink, that's now a sexual.
I thought these people were under the impression that polygamy is sexist.
No, because obviously it's. I think social justice in general, at least mostly, has the idea that polygamy is better because, like, the whole joke around about being cooked. Like, cuckolding is a good thing, and the whole idea is like, oh well, obviously it's an old-fashioned idea to be in only one relationship.
So what we're trying to say.
I just love the idea that like kinks now apparently are a part of the LGBTQIAPK plus. Is there more? I want to know if there's more.
Oh, there's more, right? It's a lot. There's a lot of letters.
definitely a
to that
lot.
thing.
There's agenders, bigenders, trigenders, pangenders, polygenders.
Think of all the bathrooms they'll need to make now.
Agenders, identifying having no gender. Bigender is identifying as having 2 gender. Trigender, 3 genders. Pangender is more than 4.
Like every
and
Walmart is going to
polygender
have every Walmart's going to need to have a Walmart and then another Walmart next to it just for bathrooms.
just be a long line of doors.
Now, as LGBT Americans are facing a back.
Oh, there's more.
Oh my God, you're such a victim, Renegade.
October 2018.
Is this going to give us the actual what's been like the context of these articles? Because you can say a lot with a headline. A headline needs to, you need to show evidence for such headline being true.
It's kind of funny when it's just kind of funny when you remember that his whole video is going off a false premise that the character Jesse is definitively gay.
Yeah, if there was a marketplace for horror movies that had gay characters or gay themed stories, whatever, great. I think we would have seen one by now, but we haven't really. So,
it's like at least Renegade Cut waited like 15 minutes before mentioning Trump. Oh, yeah, he could hold it off somewhat. I mean, he waited 6 minutes before he went off the fucking bender, but he waited. He kept it in a. Kept it in his pants.
Yeah, internal homosexuality was a big one. Now it's Trump. Yeah, it's always one of these things. We're waiting for fascism. We have 1 minute left. I doubt we'll get there, but yeah.
Clash under the current administration. We shouldn't have to sift through subtext to find our gay icons. Horror.
It's like under the current administration.
You shouldn't have to sift through gay context.
So he refuses to acknowledge Pride Month. And he bans transgenders from the military. This is this is not really Nazi Germany levels here we're talking about.
I mean, banning transgender from the military, I could say somewhat of an argument for if that is true, but like it's not the worst thing in the world. I guess.
See, I think context or subtext is fantastic stuff. So he says this is not enough. We need to do more. It's like, well, why? Why do you need to do more? Who is
well,
this
no,
for?
but it's acting like there isn't gay characters, which obviously there are characters, which just off the top of my head, because I'm British, Captain Jack Harkness from Doctor Who. He's extremely gay, he's very well beloved, and he's outwardly gay and not afraid to show it. He's a well-beloved character. Can that not be a gay icon?
Nobody's stopping you from making gay content. Nobody. It's... What do you want?
No. But
you could highlight it. You could greenlight it more often if you do it.
There are
gay
pretty
characters
much
out there, and he's like saying, "Oh well, obviously there's no gay characters, but they have to put characters in context." It's like, no, I don't think.
We have to represent more people. When do you start entertaining people? When do you start applauding yourselves?
It's like, hey, gay people, do you want to be applauded to?
Until things get better on that front, I guess we always have a nightmare on Elm Street too. I have an affection for it, not only because of the strong performances and its inclusion in my favorite slasher series, but also because it's a rare case of a mainstream.
Hey, no, but
Halloween
he's
horror
coming
franchise.
out. Get it? He's coming out of his belt. He's coming out, guys. It means he's gay.
Yeah, you know the old saying, he's coming out of the stomach. That's how you know a guy's coming out as gay.
In slasher flicks, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He came out yesterday. Out of the closet? No, out of the stomach. Oh,
Obviously, a character can only be gay in the horror genre because you can have a character coming out of his stomach, symbolizing the gayness.
What I want is more fantasy horror stuff. We only get that on TV, and it's not very frequent. The best we've gotten is either GOT or Witcher.
Elements, right? Yeah, you could talk about some of the mainstream on Netflix stuff.
Like what is it? Haunting of Hill House. That's the name of that.
I try to remember. I can't remember the names. I don't watch them, but geez, I'm not a fan of this storytelling, so I don't know the names.
You know,
most horror is very formulaic in many ways. It's just monster, figure out a way to kill monster.
You know, Dunn,
figures out a way to come back.
I thought you said Haunting of Millhouse.
Haunting of Millhouse.
Yeah, Millhouse is obviously going to have a very bad night tonight. Haunting of Millhouse.
What?
The next film coming to you in cinemas.
Millhouse or Milf House?
Millhouse. As in the Simpsons character.
I've never watched The Simpsons. I saw like half of an episode.
You're not missing much.
I am fully aware.
Franchise having an undeniably gay entry. Frankly, it's like finding a unicorn.
Wow.
Despite the fact that there are plenty of gay characters within media.
I think your boy Zach, Richard Meyer, he went ahead and he reads a lot of the modern day Marvel books, and yeah, about 70% of the Marvel universe is now gay. If there are two women in the room, they're going to be all of a sudden in a relationship. He calls them a lesbian magnet. Like if there's two lesbians in the room, they're suddenly in a relationship. And it's usually all women. And I don't think there are any really heterosexual women anymore in the Marvel universe. These are in the comic books anyway.
Oh, I'm trying to just popped in my head. American. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Oh, I was thinking about American Horror Story. I don't know if that's on Netflix though, but that's
yes, it is. I believe
it's an interesting show because every season they reuse the same characters and they have a totally different setting and story. So I thought that was rather innovative, so that they're reinventing themselves every time.
And it makes things cheap.
I think a better example Renegade Cut should have used was American Psycho, because there are the vibes in there where Patrick Bateman is homosexual. Now those are actually in there. You doesn't have to take like a few lines and stretch them out into a 60-minute video. There's actually signs in there, and Brady Snellis personally put those in there. Like he admitted to it.
Then there's Penny Dreadful. I remember that one's another popular one. They're doing a sequel to that now. So they are out there, and they could have homosexual elements in there, but I don't think that's ever going to be a focus because it's not the genre. If you want to combine genres, maybe there's like homosexual romance with horror, sure, but we're talking about a genre dedicated to jump scares and scaring you and making you feel uncomfortable. Now, the great thing about horror and let's say nudity is that it's equally as shocking. It's like, oh wow, breasts or whatever. Boom. Oh my God, someone's getting impaled in the chest. Like it's shocking. So violence and nudity go hand in hand in that capacity.
That reminds me of a story about Saw, where there was one of the Saw movies had a woman being frozen to death by having latching her inside of a freezer, and then having the torture device being spraying water on her until she froze. And the thing is that at first they're going to have her like with a T-shirt on. But the thing is, this so it wouldn't be sexualized. But the thing is that having a T-shirt on made it more sexualized than her actually being naked, and so they ended up with her actually just being naked. And it was less sexy, less sexualized than with her having a shirt on during that sequence.
Right. So we're all for gay horror stories. I hope there's a marketplace for it. If it's a good story, I'd be happy to watch it.
It's more just Renegade Cut is batshit insane.
Yeah. If he thinks that Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 is a homosexual horror story.
Face.
Yes, that looks like his face. He looks like Ryan Roundhead's bastard.
Obviously, he doesn't have enough testosterone to grow hair.
Actually, it says too much testosterone. That's
Really?
cause of baldness. Yeah.
He looks like the love child of Ryan Johnson with AIDS.
Oh dear. Oh dear. All right, let's leave Ryan Johnson alone. We'll leave him for. We have plenty more films and videos to cover. We could bash Ryan Johnson. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just he's got a really punchable face, doesn't he?
It's
like
the voice,
like,
Shiny.
It's,
It's
the
just
right.
the voice.
It's punchable voice like voice, but the punchable face like Ryan Johnson. Like even before like Ryan Johnson tells it, he just has that really punchable, smug face that you just really want to punch.
Well, I would like to remind everyone, voice had to go for whatever technical problems he had, but he did release part 1 of his Rise of Skywalker critique.
Yes.
It's on his channel. It's almost 3 hours long. He put a lot of work into that, and it's fantastically big. And if you like long form analysis, he does a great job.
Yeah, Voice is good at that. I look forward to his career.
Yeah. So if you guys like long format,
and with great interest.
Yes, exactly. That's the quote.
So go ahead, check it out. What else is there? Anything you guys get going on? Were you doing a movie night soon? I don't even know what's going on with you.
That's up to Voice, really.
It was up to Voice. You're right. I have no idea.
The Room.
Oh no!
Before we can sort out the end, he always just seems to die or something happens.
Yeah, and I'm gonna start doing
he's
more.
Stealing my gig. He's stealing my gig. Stop it, Voice.
I'm gonna start doing more evening nonsense. And Shiny, I wanted to get you on because I don't know what the time difference is, but I'm gonna start going over more technical stuff and like looking over it, and I'd love to get your opinion on it and your input on my show. So we'll arrange that, and everybody's invited. You know what I mean? Anybody can come on, but I just haven't worked it out yet because
why don't you call it the Shining Glib Show?
Sure, absolutely. We can have as many shows as we want. This is YouTube. This isn't what the 8 o'clock news or whatever.
You know,
we are
just
both
because
Glib personalities.
Just because, like, I know who did that fucking fan art of me and Glib. I know you're in the fucking chat. I know you're gonna clip that out of context. Glib saying he wants me. You're gonna take that out of context. I know you're doing it.
Oh my!
Don't.
Oh my!
I swear to God, I see you in chat.
This deal is getting gayer all the time.
All right. Last super chat, Joe Crazy. Thank you. Looks like modern Norman Bates. Oh, with no hair. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, he's the face of somebody who looks like he's incapable of being fooled even by a woman.
Oh no!
It's the suit that gives him an air of pseudo-intellectualism.
I'm not interested in bullying. It's all about critique, and for me, I just the whatever he's not putting in his propaganda, the part of his personality that's individualistic. I'd love to know what that is. So I'd love to sit down and have lunch with Renegade Cut and just hear him talk about why he comes up with what he comes up with, because I don't get it. I don't understand what made you a leftist, Mr. Cut. What we're just eating. I'll be eating. He can eat the traditional Soviet dish of nothing for communism, and we can discuss all of the different aspects of why he makes his content.
The bread delicacy.
Yes, I will conquest the bread and take it for the means of production. I'll have the bread basket in my side, and I'll ask him, if you want the bread, then we can do some sort of lend-lease or something.
Oh, jeez.
I'll rent the bread to you, but you better return it.
Exactly. At interest.
All right, boys and girls, thanks for tuning in. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the suggestions part of our channel. We have all kinds of videos we have to vote on. So hopefully, if yours is awesome, we'll definitely put that on the top of the list, and we'll all vote on it, see whether it's good or not. But thanks for tuning in. If you guys want any other content, check out in the description below all these other gentlemen. Especially, we want to talk about Voice on the Radio because he released that 3-hour video on the Rise of Skywalker. But Shiny's is in there. We've got Glib. I don't know when we're doing Glib show next, but it might be coming up soon.
Yeah.
And of course, we have Morning Nonsense from LiteratureDevil every morning. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and have yourself a great evening.